I close my eyes as the tears begin to fall silently down my cheeks, warm, unwelcome rivulets of remembrance. The pain returning once more, and I can't stop myself, my heart filling up and straining to contain it as my mind is swamped with images. I don't want to relive, and I shudder as I push them away, inhaling heavily as my shoulders start to tremble with the effort of not falling apart. The horrors of how I last saw them all, trying so hard to invade my brain and cut me down all over again. I nestle back into Colton as his arm comes up around my body and across my neck as he cuddles me. His comfort, because he can feel my pain, my body trembling as I cry, squeezing my eyes shut to gain control. His touch is what I need more than anything. And I stay here in the darkness of my own doing, listening and silently weeping while held tight in his comforting embrace. We think it was a test for this device we found in the orphanage. Juan carries on, and my eyes rip open at his words, shoving my despair aside as I squirm, wriggling out of Colton's hug to see what everyone is craning necks to look at, catching a gap as one's on front move sideways to look where I am. He holds up a small, perfectly square black box, an antenna sticking up at the top, but a complete lack of buttons and dials of any sort. That looks harmless, small and compact, no more than a tissue box in size, with another wire sticking out from the rear about a foot long and doesn't seem to attach to anything to power it. It doesn't look real, more like something a child could make with card and glue and some black paint, and I blink at it, stupefied, glaring furiously and hating that something so insignificant destroyed my life. They chose our weakest and our most secluded and walked right in, depositing this in the center of the first floor kitchen. We think they wanted to test its effectiveness and still have a fighting chance should it fail. It didn't. We've only one survivor left from the home, and only because of the fast actions of our pack. We managed to take down many of their kind, but a few escaped and will be reporting on their success for sure. There's a murmur and uneasiness as people glance around at one another in scared question. And I catch the whisper of my name on the hush's wave of sound, the mix of both relief that my survival ensured their own Santo Alpha, but also the bitter ones, calling me a reject, and querying how I was the one who managed to live. I catch the low, body vibrating, internal growl from Colton as his protective instinct kicks in at hearing my name, and a couple of nearby Santos glance this way, eyes widening in surprise, and they instantly stare down at their feet, turning meekly submissive in a flash, faces darkening with fear and shame at being caught by him of all people. Realizing he's right here among them, and not down there with his immediate family, I turn away to block them out and stare down at the front instead, mentally blanking them all, because this has always been my life and I'm not that bothered by their remarks. I catch sight of his grandmother in the shadows when they settle down, a woman who barely shows face but is lingering nearby. Unsurprisingly, there's no sign of Luna Santo, Colton's mother. She's been absent from view since the wars, and rumor has it she locks herself up in her room on the main floor upstairs and never leaves. No one has seen her in years, and if it weren't for Colton's memories of her in my head, I wouldn't even remember what she looked like. Some say she was scarred horribly by the battles, both mentally and physically, and is too ashamed to come out and face her people, meeting one of the few things in the world which can leave unhealable damage on a wolf. And her mental state has crumbled with the trauma. Only I now know from being inside his head, there's some truth to the stories. And there's only a vague, blurry visual of Colton being told she's cared for, away from the mountain because the war broke her. Those around us turn silent as Juan breaks through the thick atmosphere, once again drawing me away from my train of thought and disrupting my searching of the past for answers to her lack of appearance. Testing weapons can only mean we're heading for a war with an enemy we thought we long ago vanquished. They're working on a strategy, and this is just the beginning. There have been stories, rumors, but nothing concrete for many months. Although this is now our proof, Civilization as we know it is about to change drastically. We must protect the packs and join with those from other lands. Prepare for what is coming. We must unite and finally be ruled by one leader. One voice to work as one. Under my guidance as Alpha, if we are to survive a second war like the last. I shiver as his words begin to hit home. My brain scrambling to fathom something as huge an undertaking as that. We're a dozen packs in one state, but worldwide there are thousands, hundreds of thousands, and most still do not live in peace with the others of their kind. Rivalries exist, and some are still at war with one another, even now with the history of the wars behind us. A common enemy may change that. But there's a lot to do before that can happen. Packs are destined to want to rule over one another. Fight for dominance. Forge the hierarchy. And our mountain is not normal when it comes to living in close proximity. It was a necessity, as we recovered from the war of before, our people shattered by loss. So we were more pliable in accepting another pack as our leader. Most of our own alphas never came back to dispute the claim to rule us. Santo's idea that he will become the only leader and unite us all seems ridiculous. Given the vast amount of us in this world, he will need to unite. I'm sure there are other pack leaders out there who believe themselves far superior to him. Other dominants with way more ability and gifts, and it's not in an alpha's nature to yield without a fight. I shiver, my body trembling with all that is dawning on me, how terrifying our future now looks, and Colton firms his hold on me, reassuring me as best he can, trying to keep me calm, and be that rock I never knew I needed before I found his touch. I exhale heavily, submerging myself in his body heat, and try to bring myself peace. We need to put measures in place to protect our mountain from another attack, effective immediately. Allocations of groups with leaders will be assigned to those who haven't already had so. We are the reigning pack in Radstone, and they'll all be looking to us now, to lead and protect them. Training will begin at first light for all old enough to fight. So all of you eat, sleep. We've already sent small details to walk the perimeters, and each of the villages has been ordered to do the same. We'll have guards outside at every hour, keeping watch, and we'll revise the system to improve on all of this. Set up drills with how to react should an alarm be raised. This coming few weeks, we'll be moving all surrounding packs into the south side of the mountain. Here among our people, for their own safety. We have much to do. There will be upheaval and chaos, but we must keep our heads. This was a first offensive, and we do not know when they intend to return. The silence becomes unbearable when his last words fall in the air around us, and the gravity of our situation sits heavy on us all. Some of these men and women are survivors from the first war against the vampires, and already paid their dues, but most of us were just children, or young enough to stay behind. We lost so many, and although our numbers have recouped over the years, we're not living in readiness for a fight. We've had relative peace for years, and I have no idea how the hell we're going to get through this, bringing us all to one place to live in each other's pockets. Here in the Santo land is going to be madness. We're spread far around the skirts of the mountains and high in number. There are not enough homes to accommodate bringing us all together at this one shaded side, under their command and watchful eye, not to mention the children, their schools, and their animals on the outer farms. This is insanity. I feel sick to my stomach, knowing that everything I knew before, my idea of empty living, was in fact the best years of my sad existence. Now we're dawning on a new age, and I'm wishing with all my heart that I could back to being that unworthy reject in a house full of unwanteds, in the shadowy side of our peaceful mountain. If I could back, I would. I would never complain again, never crave a different life, because what we have coming couldn't be any worse. After Juan is done making his announcement, the Santos start to file out of the room slowly. In a wave of murmurs and noises as they discuss what was said, and where we go from here. You can feel the tension thickening, the uneasiness and nervousness. as it sinks in that this is real and life as we know it is about to change dramatically. Colton pulls me aside, tucking us out of the way of the door to let people pass, and grabs a passing male who is very familiar to me. Mateo, take Alora to our room and wait for me there. Assemble the pack, I want to talk to you all. I won't be long, my father wants me. He nods out towards the front of the room, where Juan's still concealed by moving people, and I instantly feel sick with apprehensive. Being left with someone and separated from Colton reminds me that for all the things I am mad at him about, I still feel secure when with him. He's my safety net, and the only person in the world who cares about me in any kind of way. His strength, his quiet confidence and air of control is the calm to my nervous floundering, and it only hits home that I need his presence more than I want to admit. Dude, I don't think that's good idea. Carmen and Alora in the same room. She will? Are you questioning me? Colton's tone instantly changes. Growling snarl in the undertones, irritation fast to show his displeasure, and that aggressive air kicking in as Mateo looks away sheepishly, knowing he overstepped the mark. Questioning of a command never goes down well with alphas of any sort, especially not by one of his own subpack, and it shows me that Colton is way more patient with me than even his closest. No, me alpha, pedo disculpus. Mateo responds in fluent Spanish, lowering his head and displaying his regret, showing the demanded respect, obviously chastised as his leader is Colton, apologizing and addressing him as alpha. We have one major rule in our world. Never query your alpha, for any reason, and never disobey. I forgot what that was like when living severed from any real pack, and only having to follow basic rules in the home. Being here reminds me how it used to be when my family was alive, and we all followed Samuel, White, before his family was taken down and never returned. It makes me rethink Colton's refusal to defy his father and leaves me churning it over in my head. A new angle on a frustrating situation. Reality sinking in that just because I lived outside of the restraints and rules of our social norm for a decade doesn't mean he has. Colton and Mateo, they're a subpack, a smaller group divided from the main and lorded over by a single dominant. Colton, this is how large packs like the Santos keep everything running smoothly. They're called beta packs, or subs. And much like the hierarchy of leadership, even the sub-packs rank in order of importance and command, like smaller units in a bigger army, with ranking officers, and Colton's right up there in the top 5. His father's pack of beta second commanders are number 1. The order is dependent on skill, experience, and how battle-worn they are. And Colton's sub-pack were of an age to defend us 10 years ago. They all tasted real war on our lands. Even so young. It's why they train together every day, and are some of our most capable soldiers when needs be. I should never forget that even though Colton is not yet the Santo Alpha, he is one in his own right and in his own subpack, and I underestimate the importance of his responsibilities. He isn't just some 19-year-old high school jock with his eye on a future crown. He's already a commander, already performing his duty and caring for his pack. Go with him. He'll keep you safe. He's as close as a brother to me. Colton leans in, pulling me to him, so he can talk softly, almost nose to nose, that gentler tone waving through me and breaking down my defenses. That sweet look I now know is only reserved for me. And he reluctantly pushes me towards Mateo until a hand lands on my shoulder. An unfamiliar touch, and I flinch at the contact but try to hide it. The rest of the pack are not going to like this. Mateo points it out, raising a brow at Colton, but is met with a blank stare that I can tell was a move from verbal conversation to mind. Whatever Colton says, Mateo looks away again, and gently taps me to nod towards the door that people are filing out of. He flushes lightly, his face reddening high in his cheekbones, and I guess he got a quiet dressing down away from listening ears. To save face, Colton didn't do it outright, showing he cares about his friend, even if he was pissed at his questioning his authority. I won't be long. Try and not engage with Carmen. His voice is like a last lingering stroke, giving me tingles as I move to leave him. I nod at him, not anywhere close to feeling as confident as I pretend, before turning on my heel, steeped in nervous energy, and let Matteo guide me with that single hand on my shoulder. Matteo is as familiar a face in my memories as Colton, as they were always together. Like brothers. Or inseparable shadows. Having Colton's memories show me that they're best friends, but Matteo is also one of his commanders, and he trusts him completely. He's the one who teased him that day in the lake, from the memory Colton showed me. And I guess he already knows that a long time ago Colton knew who I was. That Colton harbored some sort of juvenile feelings. That even as children, the fates were trying to draw me to him. I walk with him now, side by side, a male as tall as Colton, and as broad. They share similarities, and I wonder if they're maybe cousins, or blood-tied in a close way, because they do look alike. Same thick straight brows and black hair. That's a little ruggedly messy, like they have a natural curl, although Colton's is shorter so harder to tell. Same darkest brown molten eyes, tanned Latino skin tone, and square jawline, although Matteo is not as clean-shaven or groomed, his hair not as clipped or manicured, and his eyebrows not as angular and tamed. Matteo's like the rougher, less kempt version of Colton, who just rolled out of bed and threw on the first clothes to hand. He has a casual quality to him, less pulled together and sharp. Colton takes pride in his appearance and his clothes. And it's obvious to everyone he comes from wealth when you see him on a normal day. He just oozes that effortless Polish, expensive labels and self-confidence. Matteo seems less concerned in his worn faded jeans and gray hoodie that don't look designer either. So, you're a Laura. From the White Clan, right? He nods, as we dodge fast-paced walkers, and I'm not oblivious to how many glance my way, with sneers and weird looks as we pass them going to their rooms or wherever they have to be. My presence is noted, and the vibes I'm picking up on tell me that people know who I am, or that they know I'm responsible for the trashing of their pack house. I try and ignore it, lowering my chin to avoid eye contact, and silently exhale to blow it all away. Everyone leaving the room at once causes mayhem in this narrow corridor, and I can't tell which way we're even moving as we're crammed among so many. It's like ants evacuating a collapsing den via the only escape route. It's claustrophobic. Yeah. I think we used to play in the same places as children. I answer distractedly, as I avoid collision with oncoming traffic, trying to be polite, but I'm too busy sidestepping large males pushing by and trying not to get trampled underfoot. We did. I remember you. You had a brother, Jasper, about my age. The use of his name from someone else's mouth sucker punches me unexpectedly, and I have to bite my lip to stop the sudden inhale from the slice of pain it inflicts. Even after all these years, I've never really fully mourned the loss of them. I try never to think of them, and push it down whenever one surfaces. I did. He didn't come back from the wars. It's a fast, audibly painful response, my voice wavering as I shake my head to expel the vision of him, so like my father in looks, and turn my eyes to the ground instead to watch my steps. The comment about his age means Matteo is older than Colton, by at least 5 years, if not more. So it's weird that Colton is the sub-alpha and not Matteo. It gives me something else to focus on, and not the memory of a brother I will never see again. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to upset you. I guess time is not a healer like they say. He seems momentarily uneasy, and I smile his way, bringing my eyes back to his with a sympathetic shrug. It never is the right time to have these kinds of awkward conversations. I'm not used to hearing anyone say his name. At the home, it was forbidden to talk of our loved ones, because they're seen as shamed. They failed our people by dying. I grind, tightening my limbs, as I churn out the words I heard so many times. Matteo frowns, something dark in the depths of his eyes, hinting at a reaction. I don't understand. And then it's gone. This way. Matteo changes topic and points to a corridor, veering off to the right of where we are, taking us out of the crush of people and into near silence of an empty passage. He stands for a moment looking around, and I can tell he's mind-linking, probably calling their pack to where we're going. It takes him a minute or so, and then he turns his attention back to me. The rest are on their way, so we may as well show you it before they get here. He walks ahead, down the dark corridor, and opens a door at the very end with the use of a keypad, pushing open a heavy solid cherrywood door and revealing an already lit room inside. It has working lights, so I guess they started replacing bulbs down here first, and we walk in, letting the door swing shut behind us. It's like a large study from an old world time, with huge leather armchairs and a massive wall-hugging fireplace off to one side. There's one large walnut desk with a heavy dark green padded chair behind it, facing out into the center, matching dark green leather couches by two of the walls. Bookcases lining another, and what looks like a minibar in the gap left by the door. There's a thick animal hide rug under our feet. I think it might be a brown bear, or some huge rough-haired animal, and absolutely no windows in here at all. Every pack has a communal room for hanging out, bonding and talking shop. Ours is obviously the best, because we're lucky enough to have Juan Santo's son as our alpha. It's a perk as we get favor. I can't tell if he's being serious or sarcastic, and don't pick up on any real malice in his tone. It's an odd thing to say if he isn't trying to be an ass. He nods me towards a seat as he strolls to the fireplace, presses a button, and it explodes into instant flames. I thought it looked real, but I guess it's gas. I sit close to it on one of the armchairs. Not really cold, but watching flames has always brought me a sense of calm, and reminded me of another time and place when my mother would brush my hair by hours. A time when I had no cares in the world, when I was secure and loved nestling in the lap of my family. I try not to dwell on it and stare into the depths, emptying my mind. Drink. Matteo pulls my attention to him, now at the dark wood and glass bar, and I shake my head. The last thing I need is to dull my senses and get drunk with a guy, or pack, that I don't know and have every reason to treat me cruelly. I'm already nervous about them arriving, and I can't relax. Even if he does seem more tolerant of me than most of this pack. You, okay? Colton comes through loud and clear, checking on me, and for a second it warms me that he does. That maybe he felt my nervousness. His voice is that sound of home that I never knew I needed, and I find myself exhaling, like I've been holding my breath. As I lean back into the chair less stiffly, just waiting on the others. And sitting by the fire, I reply, setting his mind at ease and hoping I sound as comfortable here as I am pretending to be. I won't be long. My father kept all the leaders back to talk plans, schedules. You know what I mean. If you need me, I'll leave our link open. Don't let any of them give you any shit, or else they'll have to deal with me. His deep husky voice has me pining for his presence, and I sigh wearily. Matteo is being a gentleman and taking care of me. I'm sure he'll intervene. I'm trying to make him relax, but the overwhelming surge I get back from his emotions that he didn't like what I said surprises me. It's a hint of jealousy, and I blink at Matteo as though I'm missing the point. He has his back to me, pouring his drink, and nowhere near me. Right. Like I said, I won't be long. His tone is clipped, and he closes link before I can respond. Despite saying he wouldn't, sounding off and moody, and I swear it actually makes me want to laugh at how ridiculous he's being. He sent me here with Matteo, and now he's what? Jealous, because I said he was being nice. I knew males were territorial and possessive by nature. Worse. So when they made up, but I'm not even his and he has nothing to worry about. We imprinted, and the fates made sure I have no desire to look at anyone else. Even if he did reject me, I inhale sharply, shake it off, and go back to staring at the fire, trying not to let him get to me as the door swings open. And two boys stomp in arguing with one another. You're a liar. I didn't say anything of the sort. The first male snaps, turning and spotting me and instantly frowning, like he's just been faced with a terrible or vile sight. He stops dead as the other collides into the back of him with an exaggerated "humph" noise. He's unsurprisingly dark-haired, tanned, and has your typical Colombian look to him. All the Santos originated from there, before coming here a few generations ago. They tend to mate up with others like them. So the bloodline stays purest, and most of the males are sent back in early childhood to spend time in their homelands. So most have mixed accents like Colton does. Hey, watch. The voice snarls angrily and shoves him forward, exposing an identical face and equal build. And I realize these two boys are twins. If memory serves right, I can pull out of Colton's mind that this is Domi and Remy. They're younger than Colton by a year, making them 18, like me, both lanky, tall, athletic boys with brown hair and soft hazel eyes. More Santos, and I know for sure they're Colton's distant cousins on his mom's side, and she is here why. The first one turns to Mateo with a growl and is met with a snarl in response. Mateo seemingly growing an inch taller and faces them down, because Colton said so. And I doubt he wants to hear you were questioning it. It's not a friendly tone, and it has the effect of dampening down the attitude on one of the twins at least. He's not questioning. He's just a little shocked that our pack room has someone. Not of our pack, the other chirps in, throwing me a devious side-eye, and I shrivel back into my chair, aware the waves of prickling heat coming my way are hostility, even while he is smiling on like it's not. Who's not in our pack? That female voice I've been dreading the arrival of comes waving in as she walks in the door, thick like honey and sultry preceding her entry. She sashays in like the queen of the manor and stops dead in her tracks when she spots me, gray eyes instantly storming over, pouty mouth forming a thin, tight light, and porcelain skin paling as rage ignites under the surface. Her eyes start glowing intense amber as she growls her dislike at me and lowers her chin to move into an attack stance. Wolves are aggressive by nature, and we literally jump to fight for every little thing. Bite, nip, attack. It's just how we are. Why in the fuck has he let her in here? Carmen loses her cool steps at me fast, but Mateo zaps forward using his hyper speed, blocking her in a nanosecond and standing between us. He stands firm, lifts his chin, and makes a good show of exerting his dominance. Colton wanted her here, and will be along soon, so pipe down, go sit over there and behave. Mateo has a tone not too dissimilar to Colton's alpha tone, only less effective, and she draws her eyes from me to him, not as affected as she would be had their alpha said it. Don't tell me what to do. You're not my alpha, hell. You're not even his beta. The undercurrent of a snarl between them sizzles and I tense, waiting for it to get crazy in here. Surprised that Mateo is not his second in command, and I rake my memories to find out who is. I swear to God, it better not be Carmen, or I'm in trouble. Ahora, Q, tenemos aquí. Another female voice floats in, soft, light, and strangely alluring with a deep raspy undercurrent as three more wolves stroll in unannounced. And I recognize her as Meadow. One of the older femmes in her late 20s mated to the one behind her, Caesar. Her brother is in tow, Jesus, and they stop to gaze over the little scene in hand. Ahora Ninas, go sit down before I break a claw, reminding you who is beta in this room when Colton is not here. Sit. Her accent is heavy and thick. Clear she's an incomer to Radstone, and English is not her first language. It's not uncommon for wolves with links elsewhere to sometimes bring in family pack from further away to live with them. Or find a mate. And I know Meadow's been with us for a few years. Maybe even as far back as the war. Her accent has never faded though. Mateo and Carmen give one last snarl and separate, walking to the couches, chastised and surprisingly not defying her. They're followed by the twins who avert eyes from their new member and instantly go into sulk mode, slumping together on one sofa and stare at me with lowered eyelids. No hint of warmth, which adds to my growing uneasiness as I sit stiffly where I was. Meadow strolls into the room fully, confidently, eyeing me up, unashamedly, and I get the sensation I'm being weighed up as prey. She's a sight to behold, at 5'8", strong, graceful, and very Latino. Black hair, the most amazing pale blue eyes under sculpted black brows, and deeply tanned skin. She has full lips, cat-like eyes with perfect makeup, and an outfit of clingy denim with a blouse that shows off her ample cleavage. She's beautiful, but has an aura of terrifying. She doesn't stray out of the Santo side of the lands much, but it's obvious that Mateo is not Colton's second in command. Meadow is. I wouldn't argue with her. Her natural nails are long, sharp, and pointed, with a nice shellac of blood red, so I can't imagine what her wolf claws would be like. She puts the fear in me with just her presence. Hi. I'm Caesar, this is Jesus, and the infamous Meadow here. Caesar nods at me, no hint of either dislike or friendliness in his blank statement. He's another tall, stocky type, and I'm starting to see a pattern with this pack, best of the breed. And all alarmingly alike, except Carmen, the only blonde among them. They're all big, strong, and have lashings of both aggression and attitude, common among our strongest. I'm sure as a pack they have many a battle of wills and lots of spats. She knows who we are, don't you, amiga? She has Cole's memories and I'm sure she knows how to access them. Meadow strolls in front of me, heels clicking on the hardwood floor, her eyes wandering over me as she takes me all in without caring how uncomfortable it's making me. Devouring my appearance with a critical eye. I do. I answer sheepishly, aware another has entered the open door, and praying that has to be all of them. This is getting crowded, and I'm starting to feel like raw meat being lowered into a hungry lion's den. I don't even glance their way, as Meadow has a commanding quality that demands you give her our full attention. How? Oh, how did the fates get this so wrong? Jesus sneers at me appearing beside her, not too dissimilar in looks to his sister, only masculine where she is feminine, and instantly shuts up when Meadow throws him a pointed glare with a subtle growl. The fates are never wrong. Don't you know that? She snaps, before taking a calming breath, lifting her hands, making motions in the air as though to accompany deep breaths. She smirks when she catches my eye and bends towards me, almost dropping her massive boobs from her low-cut top in my face. I don't know. I sense something in this one. You think, Poppy, she has a little summon. Caesar doesn't seem impressed. Or not impressed. Totally blank, and I can only assume he is who she calls Pappy. I know it's a name for your lover or mate. She reaches out, picking up a strand of my wild, unbrushed hair, and runs her fingers through it slowly, tingling my scalp as it tugs gently, putting me on edge and making me so uncomfortable. I feel like calling on Colton, but I don't. I have to expect his pack are going to be like this at a first meet. I mean, he just threw me in with them, amid all that happened today, and they're sizing me up to see how much grit I have. I can't show them weakness, or they'll shred me. Is it true she came from the home for the rejects? The ones the vamps all slaughtered. One of the twins can't conceal his disgust. And Carmen sneers, a look of anger crossing her face, and darts him a side-eye glare. Yes. And our formidable alpha lowered his standards and tried to mark this mutt. He needs his head read. Carmen is quick to chirp in with her dislike of me, seething hatred my way. The room feels like it's closing in as anxiety builds and my panic grows, and I wonder how long before I get cornered and chewed on. AI. It's a sharp sound given out to shut her up, Meadow standing to roll her own hair between two fingers and facing them with an air of "I'm getting so pissed. Don't disrespect our alpha's companera, I won't tolerate it and neither will he. Don't make me mad, Chica. I don't like when I get mad. Meadow is by far the scariest femme I have ever come across. And I don't know why she's unnerving me so much, because she seems pretty sane on the surface. It's just, she has an aura that screams certified psycho. And every single time she moves, I flinch internally, getting antsier by the second as she stands so close to me. Carmen recoils, obviously knowing only too well that Meadow doesn't make empty threats, and Matteo clears his throat to distract her. He too seems like he knows he should diffuse things, and it only heightens my wariness. Some of the femmes in our pactum are worse than the mates in terms of volatile aggression and ability to maim, and I'm starting to think Meadow is one. Drinks anyone. While we wait on him, Matteo glances around for takers and gets a couple of quiet nods. No, nosotras have other plans for our little companera. She needs a little help over here. Meadow clicks her tongue at me to catch my attention, and when I look up at her she extends her finger and motions me to come. It's creepy. And yet in order, and without question, I slide up in my chair, heartbeat elevating and wondering what the hell she plans on doing to me. You look like a bag lady who dresses out of the trash, Novia. If that's what Colton has you looking like, you ain't gonna last long here. It's not a good look. Come. We have to fix this before I can sit and look at you for any length of time. You're offending my eyes. What'd he do to you? You look like you've been working out on our man, huh? Maybe practicing getting marked, huh? Saying goodbye to your poppies and letting his seeds blow up your wind tunnel. Heh. It's a dirty, raspy laugh following a dirty remark, and I flush with embarrassment at her brazen statement as I catch her meaning, knowing I probably do look a little disheveled, and I can almost taste Carmen's seething rage winding my way. I haven't let poppy seeds blow or, ere I? No. I retort, face flaming, mumbling, babbling, as excruciating shyness almost kills me. Face reddening and unable to look her in the eye, I can feel Carmen's eyes boring down on me, waiting for my answer with vicious suspicion. I can feel her poised body getting ready for my takedown if she thinks Colton has touched me sexually. We haven't done anything. Nothing. How can I tell them I turned, ripped him half to shreds and then called him weak? I don't think that would go down well with his crew. Disappointing. Well, I can help with that. She gestures again for me to follow. And when I hesitate, eyes roaming the enraged Carmen sitting near the doorway, she catches my sleeve and yanks me. Carmen is poised with a reply to what Meadow said, but I can see she's holding it in and simmering, despite the knives she's throwing with her eyes. I'm not sure what the story between Meadow and Carmen is, but I don't get happy bonded packmate vibes from either of them. Colton will be a while, and my room is not far. We look around the same size if you roll up the legs a little. I'm sure I have something that makes you look less vagabunda. You'll help her with nothing. She's not, and will never be his mate. You know who he chose and that he rejected her, so stop playing games, Meadow, and leave her be. The trash look suits her because it's what she is. Carmen couldn't hold it for much longer, and that flash of rage has Meadow spinning her way, almost taking me with her. Green is not a good color on you, puta. I don't think you are in any position to make demands, considering whose bed I caught you in. You should be thanking your stars that I've not excised my right to punish such a betraying para as you. Don't make me reconsider it. There's a shocked silence, and Carmen's eyes dart around the rest of them. Obvious shame written across her face as all the others avert and avoid her. They all know. Of course they do. And the silent tense moment tells me they're mad at her for betraying Colton as much as he is. She committed a sin that in the eyes of wolf law is non-comparable to his. He was bonded, and he kissed his fated mate. She had sex while promised to another, in a bid to wound him. It doesn't matter how double a standard it is, it's how this works. And our laws on commitment and betrayal are clear. She was linked to Colton, and she chose to punish him with defiling their union after he already rejected the mate the fates gave him. Packs are weird and they can fight all day long, get aggressive with one another, nip and tease. But you wound one of them and they will turn on you, even if you were one of their own. They have a special bond with their alpha, and I can see Carmen is in the doghouse. None of them like her right now. You have less than half an hour before Colton most likely shows. You know Juan likes to keep things short, Mateo points out, and Meadow claps her hands happily. Plenty time. Come. We have some girl stuff to do. Carmen isn't welcome. She can sit over there and think about what she's done. Meadow tosses her hair back, that long sleek hair shining as it flies over her shoulder sassily, throwing her a pointed look, and leads the way, yanking me with her once more. Caesar and Jesus, still standing in the entranceway, move out of the way, and I catch the slight up and down appraisals as they size me up in passing. The twins' eyes follow me, and although it's not outright hostility, I can tell none of the males, with the exception of maybe Mateo, are sure they want me here. I'm an outsider to them, an intruder to their pack, and not worthy to be bonded to their alphas. As soon as we get to the corridor, Meadow slides her arm in mine, and hauls me close a little aggressively for my liking, leaning in so her perfume and natural wolf scent mingle and hit me with a heady concoction. I know we're supposed to follow Juan in his hatred of all the orphans he threw behind the mountain, but I lost family in that war, and it could have well been me. Some of us were lucky enough to see some come back. I don't believe for a second that only our strongest bloodlines came home. You can trust me, amiga. I'm not like most of the pack. I have a mind of my own. She whispers it in hushed silence and throws me a soft look that, despite feeling her crazy vibes, rings true. She has an underlying kindness, and I can feel it when we're this close. Colton's a good boy, but he's also Juan's son. He knows his place in the pack, and he knows if he defies his father and breaks that kind of respect for our laws, he'll never have the respect when his time comes to lead. I know what he wants, and I know why he can't have it. But it doesn't mean I don't want to have a little fun and make him suffer. A smile, wink, and almost mischievous laugh, and I frown in confusion, unsure if I should question her or not. If she is close to Colton, then I literally have no idea what she means about having fun and making him suffer. She leads the way, pulls me with her, up a stair, and then down a left hall before we come to a polished wooden door with her name staring back at us from a polished and engraved gold plate. The scent up here is mainly female, and I guess they keep the sexes on different floors. Although Caesar's scent lingers around the door, and I guess because they're mated, he gets to stay in here too. Being mated is marriage, and once you're marked, no one has the authority to stop you being together in every way. Every second of every hour. I'm the queen of hair and makeup, and you, my amiga, need a little Santo makeover. Because like it or not, you're now our pack and our problem. As long as you live, so does Cole, and it's our job to keep it that way. That means you need to fit in and look the part. Not like this. She casts me an up-down eye flicker of disapproval and exaggerated expression of yuck. She scans her palm, pushes open the door, and leads the way inside, flicking on a light switch and grinning when it comes on. They finally replaced mine, thankfully. That was some show you put on in the hallway, and some mess you made. Impressive. I think you smashed every glass bottle I owned. She wiggles away from me to address her, and starts rifling through the contents, throwing me devilish smiles. I relax a little. nerves winding down and anxiety, untangling my internal organs, easing into the aura that surrounds her. There's something infectious and alluring that pulls you in and makes you feel like you can open up to her. And I stand awkwardly by the door watching her. I'm sorry. I honestly don't know what happened or how I did it. Colton thinks I start to revert into excuses, ingrained from years of being a reject. I know what he thinks. Colton tells me everything, and I mean everything. I know he thinks you have an absorption gift, and I'm guessing his lack of presence this afternoon was when he came to you to test his theory. How did that go? Or is what I'm looking at the result of getting down and dirty and distracted? She has the filthiest way of laughing that implies sexual innuendos, and the crudest mindset, turning any sentence into a much more loaded one with just a chuckle. And I blush again. We haven't had sex. We haven't done anything since that first time he kissed me. He pushed me to turn and figured I can do what he says effectively. I don't know how much information I should be giving away as I don't know her, but I can find nothing in my mind to tell me that Colton doesn't trust her. She's his second in command, and I'm sure that comes with the highest kind of bond. No, he won't. Not if he ain't gonna mark you. Colton may be a lot of things, but he's very straight in upholding a moral code. He can be spoiled, a little self-absorbed and center of his own universe, but he has a code and he's the kind of guy who would drop everything to have your back if you needed him. He's not like his father, but he does cower a little in his shadow. He's young still. I hope he grows out of it soon. Becomes the man hidden in the boy. I find myself nodding at that because I know it's true. Even I can see and admit it, and jump when she spins back at me holding up see-through lace scraps that I can't even tell what they are. Black or red, chica. A good feeling starts with sexy lingerie, and I've never yet worn either, so you can have one. My eyes bulge out of my skull a little, and my mouth runs dry. I clear my throat, shifting from one foot to the other, and try to stop gawping at what she's holding. It doesn't look like there's enough on any of what she's holding to cover, even a tiny part of me. Let me guess. You're a tidy whites and sports bra girl. Do you even own a push-up, a bra, or a thong? I catch the jest in her tone as she mocks me and rolls her eyes. As I begin to shake my head, eyes wide and completely shell-shocked. We are even discussing my underwear habits. I mean, we only just met, and far from the fact I thought all Santos hated my kind. Here she is trying to gift me her underwear. AI papi. She mutters to herself with a hint of disappointment. Colton seems more like a black lace kind. The boy has hidden kinks for sure, so we'll go with that. It has a little push to give your sisters some lift. She wiggles her breast with one hand, as though to demonstrate, and tosses the black scrap towards the four-poster bed. I really don't need. I stammer out, embarrassed to the core, but she shushes me mid-refusal of uplifting man-traps with a finger jab, and I fall silent, too intimidated to continue arguing. Okay. So now we need something sexy but casual. Not trying too hard, but has to make him think about banging you whenever he sees you. She wanders to a closet and yanks it open, enjoying this makeover a little too much and really getting into it. I don't want to make him bang me. I point out, unable to really believe we're having this conversation, and all I get in reply is a heart, sexy laugh. Oh, I know, and knowing him, he won't. Whether you want a man to bang you or not is beside the point, chica. You have sexuality and the goods to make men want you. Work it. Play a little, make Colton regret the day he ever said I don't. I mean, why make it easy on the boy when it's so much more fun to make him squirm? She swings her hips and makes a pelvic thrusting jerk, giggling at her own motion, and goes back to hauling clothes out of the closet and throwing them across to the bed between us. My nerves catapulting to the ceiling as I watch an array of tiny clothing items, with low cut or short, almost not their cut, flying by. I don't want to play games or make this hard for him. He made his choice and I don't. I'm not. I stammer awkwardly, really overheating with shame at the skimpy choices she's laying out. She shushes me again from afar, with a finger on her lips, and fixes me with a penetrating look, resting her hand on her hip and leaning into it. I get it. You're a virgin, and you think that all there is marked mate, or eternal untouched while you wait to be marked. A good girl just trying to find her place somewhere she don't want to be. Why are you pushing yourself into the shadows and becoming invisible? You're a pretty girl. You've more right than Carmen to be in our pack, and trust me, nothing will piss her off more than to see you take your place, making our alpha more besotted with you than he already is. You don't like her much, do you? I blanch at her, and can't get my head around this. She doesn't seem like she has all that much care in her heart for someone who's run with their subpack for 2 years. Since Carmen paired up with Colton, she was never my choice. We've never warmed. Stupid girl, far too jealous for her own good, and tried to damage the bond I have with Colton. She made that mistake one too many times, and now she don't got herself a sister who is sad to see her pushed out. She brings nothing but drama to our unit. She needs to go. Meadow stops, mid-throwing items my way, and sighs heavily, her eyes darting back at me, and she delivers a soft smile. I have an ulterior motive, Sheikah. For this, she waves her arms around us at the chaos of clothes and comes back to stand in front of me, reaching out and tugging a strand of my hair through her fingers. Which is? I ask brazenly, feeling somehow deep down that I can trust her. There's something about her that tells me she's not my enemy. Juan has given Colton an order that by the next cycle he has to have marked Carmen and put an end to this. The moon is full in under 2 weeks, and he's looking for every reason to delay this and convince his father that he doesn't want that bond. He wants to be with you, and he can't keep denying it. Meadow seems devastated over her confession. True sympathy in that narrowed brow and glistening eyes. What? It almost wins me as it falls out of my mouth, her face falling sad as a droplet glistens in her eye more obviously. It overwhelms me, insides churning in that agonizing way I felt when he and I were apart, and I too begin to cry silent painful tears. Juan has no right to force that of him. But Colton, he needs a shove. He needs to stop obeying everything he commands and fight for his right to choose his own mate. The law is on his side in this. Juan oversteps his boundaries all of the time, and Colton is so used to towing his line and obeying that he doesn't even think he can question it. The anger simmers below her surface, yet I feel it vibrating from her as it fuels my own. Juan is forcing him to mark Carmen before the next full moon, even though they're no longer even dating. It's almost a sob as pain slices into my throat and threatens to choke me. Legs giving out, and I stumble to the bed nearby to slump down heavily, stunned with the reality of this. He didn't tell me. I heave in air as the tears start to rack my body. And Meadow comes to perch beside me, running her hand down my hair in a bid to console me. I think Colton is hoping he can convince him of another way before that time comes. That your gift is enough to show him you're special. She soothes quietly. Juan will never accept me, even with a special power. Juan hates anything to do with my kind. I don't know where it comes from, but a world of pain floods my heart and twists my insides in such an excruciating way, I think my heart stops beating. I can't bear to think about him marking her for all eternity. I don't know what that would do to our bond, or how much that would kill me, but all of a sudden, I can see what she is hinting at. She thinks dressing up and looking good will turn his head more than it already is. Make him want me more, in hopes he will find the will to stand up and claim what is rightfully his. Maybe push his lust buttons enough to force his hand, to mark me in the heat of passion like he almost did that night in the study, when the hormones of imprinting were at their strongest. Colton isn't like that though, and I don't think flirting and sashaying around in skimpy clothes will alter his commitment to his honor and obedience. Especially not now the insane need and hunger has faded to manageable levels. It only stays that strong in the first days to ensure the mark is made. That first kiss was hormone-fueled. After the imprint being so new, it's calmer now. The feelings settling in and the raging lust giving way to a deeper connection. That's how it works. It's meant to make you finalize the bond with sex and marking, because you can't control the need for each other, and then it fades to love and care, and taking care of one another. With a less intense need for sex. I can't make him lust crazy like that again, and push him to defy his father with some makeup and a pair of booty shorts. We can't fight this. Colton has to be the one. And he is a little preoccupied with vampire wars and changes to everything now. I point out dejectedly, sighing heavily with my own logic. Look, I'm going to level. I don't want that skanky puta becoming a permanent fixture in my sub-pack. I loathe her, and have done since Colton brought her in. If sexing you up gets Colton to find his spine, and maybe at least delay this somehow, we can find a way to change Juan's mind together. We're his pack, and whether the boys agree with this or not, they got his back. And mine. Carmen was never one of us. I saw what you could do in the hallway. And if that was an ounce of untrained, uncontrolled gift, then there's no telling how much power you have inside of you, Chica. I know about your eyes and that has to mean something. There are rumors about wolves from time gone by with special gifts and blood-filled eyes that we cannot ignore. I'm not special. I'm scared and out of my depth. I admit, honestly taking comfort from her stroke skimming my hair repetitively. Meadow has a maternal quality, and I think that's the feeling that's pulling me to her. She has the same spirit my mom had, the same fierce but gentle nature. She takes no crap. And she has an aura that tells you she's loyal to a fault. Bold with her opinions, yet a heart always at the core of her plans. It's been missing from my life for so long. Colton may be the boy to follow his father. But I know he's trying to find a way to be with me. Even after he rejected me. I have a hold over him that runs deep, that neither can fight. If I gave him more, gave him a reason to throw all in, then maybe he would find it inside of him to defy him, and mark a mate on the full moon that isn't Carmen. Up until now, I've let him be the one to keep pulling us together. Maybe that's why he's able to resist. Maybe Meadow has a point. I've been distant, mad at him, and combative. I haven't made any of this easy, and at times I've pushed him away. Maybe she's right and not in the dress sexy way. But maybe I need to strengthen our bond and pull him to me. Apply the affection he shows me and give him a reason to fight for us. Encouragement. All I have is how he feels about me. And I know that sex with your fated does something more when you finally come together. There's a second level of imprinting when you unify. I should aim for that. Seduce him, even if I'm not sure he'll yield, and Meadow isn't sure either. She doesn't see how hard he tries to keep his hands to himself, and maybe with a push, I can prove us both wrong. Unify my mate, and solidify his mind set into marking me no matter what Juan says. I belong with him, and my future in this pack, these lands all rely on getting this out of the way and having him finally unite us. Juan can go to hell. I need to get Colton to man up. Once that's done, his father can't do a damn thing about it, and it can't be undone without killing us both. His hands will be tied, and then we can focus on the impending war and all that comes with it. This needs to be done. Show me how to put these on. I pick up the scraps of lace and wipe my face with the back of my hand, pulling myself together with some kind of a plan. Be it a haphazard one. It's a step to stop hating on him and start encouraging him to find his own spine, like Meadow said. Your mate is meant to help you grow. And up until now, he's the only one doing anything like that. It's my turn to help Colton find his own strengths. Now you're talking. Seduction, Chica, is a tried and tested weapon that no man is capable of denying for any length of time when it's from the woman he already loves. Ignore Carmen, her time has passed, and she broke his trust. She brought shame to our pack when she slept with TJ. Colton can never be bonded to her. I inhale sharply, that name registering as I run through my memory bank and stop on a face to go with it. I know who he is, and I can see why Colton's remaining feelings for Carmen died a death. TJ is Colton's own first cousin, his direct blood, and was raised as a brother to him. Literally, he's Juan's younger brother's son. And at 28, he's an alpha to another sub-pack. He's always had a subtle sibling rivalry to Colton, and I guess he saw an opportunity for the upper hand. That had to have stung and wounded Colton so deeply. I now know why Colton never named and shamed and made their betrayal public. Juan would never allow him to bring a black mark to his own bloodline like that. And his insistence to still mark Carmen as Colton's mate is proof. He's trying to act like it didn't happen. He's denying our own laws to suit his own purpose. He would rather see his son bonded to someone who shamed his own pack than see him bonded to me. Screw you, Juan. If learning to seduce Colton puts him in a place to defy him, then I'm throwing myself in and not coming back out until it's done. That boy is mine, and I have all kinds of pull to make him beat to the march of my drum, a strong, loud thrum that will drown out Juan's tenfold. Bring it on, Santo. Meadow whistles at me, almost deafening me with the strength she can emit with just 2 fingers in her mouth, and motions with her hand in a circling manner to get me to turn around. She's bossy, but there's something likable about her, and I'm fast warming to her pushy personality. She's gone to town on me in a short space of time. My hair sleek, combed until it's glossy, and pulled up into a high ponytail that she said made my waves come together to an almost ringlet at the back. She's blushed, pinched, dabbed, and painted my face with various products, and squeezed me into clothes. She swears are my size, but the restrictions I feel make me doubt it. My bust is surprisingly close in size to what she wears, so no doubt she heavily downsizes for extra oomph in her breast department. Skin-tight, soft denim jeans, paired with a fitted white tank with a low-cut V. I'm all cleavage I never knew I had. A booty I feel is way out on show from sculpted pants, and I'm pulling on the soft mauve velvet hoodie she told me to leave open. My feet in crisp white sneakers. Because we're going for the casual and didn't try too hard look, and she's thrown some silver hoops in my ears. With a simple dainty necklace holding a tiny green crystal. She said, was the color of my eyes. Honesty. I spent my life dressing in shapeless or loose clothing to feel comfortable and not to draw attention. And now I feel like I have way too much on show. And a bit too dressed up for a wolfpack meeting in their communal. I know Colton has seen me naked after turning. But this feels more exposed somehow. Maybe because I rarely wear makeup and what's done feels strange on my skin. My lid's heavier with the lashings of a mascara. Everything is perked and propped up, held in tight fabrics that enhance my curves. And I wish I could see it for myself to tell how bad or good it is. For all I know, I look like a clown. But no, I only busted every damn mirror in this mansion some hours ago, and can only go by Meadow's reaction, which seems to be positive. I would bang you, Chica. She winks, throwing me a kiss, and blows it my way dramatically, clicking her fingers and her tongue on the roof of her mouth in unison to make an approval noise. Thanks, I guess. I respond with a half laugh, have nervous cough, not sure if that's the appropriate thing to say. But she laughs airily. I like you, girl. You're funny without trying to be. You're like this little awkward kid, but with the heart of a vixen, waiting to come into her own. Don't ever change that. She eyes me over once more, nodding to herself with obvious pride at what she's created, and it warms me to my stomach. It's weird to have someone genuinely look at me with a hint of pride and acceptance like this. I mean, Colton doesn't count when he did it earlier. He has to feel that way about me as it's ordained by the fates to be so. I'll try not to. I smooth my hands down the soft fabric smothering my legs and do one final check from my own viewpoint. Literally, all I can see is boobs. You sure I look okay and not too obvious? Doubt is already swarming me, denting the little bit of confidence she's been building up in the last half hour. And Meadow shakes her head, loosening those beach curls she has going on at the ends as she puts in some oversized gold hoops in her own ears. Please. I know what I'm doing, and I ain't no fool when it comes to teasing men. We went for sexy casual, just work it, trust me on this. One eyeful of that bootylicious in Colton, gonna be dry humping your ass into next week like a wolf in heat. She extends a hand, that mischievous glint on those pale blue sultry eyes, straightening her own fitted white blouse down over those mega breasts of hers with her free hand. And I hop forward to catch her fingers in mine, eager to go before I lose all my nerve and wipe this off. We've only been up here for around 25 minutes maximum. But it feels like hours have passed, and I'm so much more relaxed with her, even if I'm not relaxed with how I'm kitted out. I guess having her right in my face with various implements she could have gouged my eyes out with built trust. I can't explain and can only go by memory of what being part of a pack was to compare. But this feels a lot like Meadow is bringing me to her as her pack sister, initiating a bond. It makes me choke up a little, suddenly so grateful that she's Colton's second, and has her own kind of bond with him, which has pushed her to invest in me. It's nice to have another person who likes me, for whatever reason. Let's go find your man and make Carmen's face implode. Meadow sounds like she's a little too invested in doing that. Her accent a tad heavier when she's smirking, her lips curling like the cat that got the cream, that smug tone. And I can't deny, she's lifted my mood completely in terms of that skanky puta, which I now know means dirty slut eloquent. I guess having someone on your side who's not ordained by the fates to be so makes a difference. It's no longer just me and Colton. Meadow leads the way. And with a combination of moving fast and giggling at nothing in particular as we play, push, and shove each other around corners and doors, downstairs, back to where we started. We seemed to get there in record time. I barely took in my surroundings at all this time. Who knew a Santo Beta wolf could be so fun to hang out with? The door to the study is shut. But I know before following her in that Colton isn't here yet. I can't feel him anywhere near this room, nor any fresh scent, and swallow down hard as I step in, right behind her, almost hidden in her shadow. The rest of them are in various states of lounging, uninterested by our return, and definitely did not miss our presence. Someone is playing music in the corner on a cell phone. Or a small device. I can't see. And it seems they have all had a couple, or a few, drinks in our absence. The smell of booze wafting our way and tinting the air with that chemical whiff. I can't miss Carmen sitting alone at the desk, sulk face fully initiated. She's flicking through a large book, something heavy with aging pages, and glances up hatefully as I make eye contact. She doesn't say anything and goes back to what she's reading and pretending we didn't just walk in. I have to admit, she scrubs up well, and I guess I can see why Cole couldn't keep his hands off her. One of the twins remark as Meadow gets out of my way, exposing me fully to the room. There's a cough. As Carmen reminds them of her presence, how much she doesn't like that comment, and Demi shuts up. Rami pushes his brother in the shoulder playfully, shaking his head at him, and eyes me up too. I can tell by the way he flickers over me, nodding with a smile that he agrees. Okay, so like this. Maybe I can see the potential. I mean, ouch. He makes a motion with his hands, as though he touched something hot, and then dramatically blows his fingers, and makes a sizzling noise with his mouth. Despite the earlier hostility with these two, I smile slightly, giggling involuntarily, screwing up my nose in shyness at being scrutinized as my heats with a blush. See, Chica, they like. My boys, they know sexy when they see it. I think it's a massive improvement to wearing Cole's cast-offs. Meadow walks around me, her own final appraisal as though she didn't spend minutes upstairs admiring her handiwork and then sashays away again, grinning to herself. She's congratulating herself on her awesome skills. Who likes what? Colton seems to appear out of thin air while I was too distracted to pick up on him, and I spin in both surprise and instant nervousness, realizing I didn't get any time to prepare myself for him walking in. I'm just standing here halfway into the room, like some awkward kid who's been asked to model the ugly jumper her grandmother knitted for Christmas. Our eyes lock as he hits me with that megawatt cute boy smile, a hint of dimples, and a reminder how gorgeous Colton is when he relaxes and lets his charms shine. That's before breaking contact to let his gaze slide down my outfit and back again. I can tell by the raised brow expression he likes what he sees, and that smile turns into a full-on dimple-enhanced swoon-worthy, sexy smile, with an accompanying twinkle in his eye that melts me to my core. It does weird things to my insides, and my butterflies rise up and set my skin alight with a smoldering fire. Well, I'll be damned. I thought naked was good. His mental message has me blush insanely. Heat consuming my face, his voice dripping with heightened lust. But it's short-lived when I catch him side-glancing Carmen, and he seems to instantly put his tongue away, pulling back his reaction and yanking on that serious persona once more. It's like he got scolded, and I wonder if she mind-linked him and gave him what for. In her head, they're still trying to work things out. Even if I know otherwise, my father gave me a schedule of where all the packs, teams and such are to report at dawn. We meet in the mess at first light. Our subs are convening on the West River, the old basketball court, and will be in charge of continuing training with the pack members already learning combat. And of course Lori, straight into leader mode, pushing that spark between us aside as responsibility kicks in. I don't know who gasps louder out of literally everyone in the room. Even I take that last word or two in with a little inhale of what? She's training with us? Has she ever done any sort of hand-to-hand or weapons training in her life? We might kill her by mistake. It's the previous silent member that I never got a good look at, and he steps forward now, appearing from behind the bar area, and I flinch when I catch sight of his face. He's older than Colton for sure, a little graying of his hair at the temples, and he has one completely white eyeball that suggests he's partially blind. The other's so dark brown in comparison that you can't help but react when you see it. A raggedy, awful-looking scar running from cheek to forehead and passing right through. So deep, you can tell he was wounded pretty badly whenever this happened, and it's literally the first thing you see. I try not to stare, but it is so very rare to see a wolf with any kind of scars. We self-heal, miraculously, and instantly most of the time, and only one kind of wound will ever leave a mark like that on a healthy wolf. Silver dipped in wolfsbane. I heard they used it against our kind in the wars with some success. Although it killed most. If it doesn't kill you, then it leaves you forever marked as he is. By creating an infection inside of you and poisoning the site around it, it eats into your body and flesh and makes you so very sick that healing won't cure the mess. You have to heal like a human. I don't recall ever seeing him, but I guess with damage like that he wouldn't want to be seen outside much. Wolves are very high ego, and any kind of failure in battle makes them act weird and live in shame. We're all about that. I mean, it's literally affected my entire existence. Where else would she train? She's safer with me, and I'm safer being the one to teach her to fight. This thing is real, and no one has more experience than the combat teams, of which we are one. Colton has an edge to his tone. His gaze flickers my way and I catch Carmen out of the corner of my eye, throwing him a full-on pathetic and woeful look, aiming to manipulate him, with what I assume used to be a tried and tested method when he was with her. Tears come out to play, and I try and ignore her. Colton's jaw muscle twitches, and he glances away from her, back at his pack, somewhat unimpressed. a frown creasing his forehead. And his eyes cloud over a little in glowy amber. Radar. I think it's the best plan, and we as a unit can bring her up to speed and teach her how to sync with us. To become one fluid machine, with an extra set of teeth. Our pack lost numbers with Carly and Ebony both being with pup and out of action. Meadow throws me an encouraging warm smile as she backs up Colton's, bringing my attention to the fact there's more to this sub-pack normally. Bringing fem numbers to almost match the males. She starts subtly growling at her mate when he opens his mouth to say something, and he shuts it just as quickly. I blink back at the scarred wolf and click. His name must be Radar. Weird for a name, and I assume it's a nickname, something to do with whatever gift he has. I do know some wolves possess ability to feel things coming from afar and have insight to certain things in the way a real radar pulse would. I wonder if it's what he can do. Although maybe not, if the vampire attack was unforeseen, and if she's useless and slows us down? What then? Carmen butts in nastily, abandoning her pitiful act bitchily, because he didn't bite and instead pushes between us to get in the middle of the conversation, putting herself between Colton and I and nudges closer to him in a bid to mark her territory. Colton steps sideways away from her and turns and walks to the bar, pulling out a bottle of water from a concealed fridge and takes a slow drink without reacting to her in any way. Why would she be? We're good teachers. We've taught many of our kind and started them in their training. Besides, didn't you see the chaos in the house, or were you too busy being blinded by your own seething hatred? Meadow doesn't hold back. Her words dripping with venom, coming at her from across the room where she's been standing back to admire her handiwork, and Colton sighs loudly. He turns, perches his butt against the edge of the bar. And it's only now I notice the dark circles under his eyes and the unusually pale pallor of exhaustion. Can you two stop for just an hour? I swear this shit gives me a headache. Lackluster too, and I wonder what exactly went down with his meeting with his father. His usual shine is missing. She started it. Carmen blurts out like a juvenile tattletelling, and it makes me frown at her with a subtle shake of my head. Mature she is not. She's following Colton once more across the room as he pushes off and heads for a couch. But he sees her coming and crosses away to perch on the arm of the opposite one, where the twins are sprawled out with cans of beer. She looks annoyed instantly at the fact she can't sit anywhere near him, and it irritates me endlessly that she's chasing him around. It's obvious to all of us he wants her to leave him alone. She has a name. And no, I think your skanky Puda booty always starts shit. When are you going to stop trailing his ass and sit down? You're being pathetic. Meadow lets out a frustrated R noise under her breath when Carmen ceases to edge closer to him, mirroring my sentiments exactly. She walks over and yanks Carmen by the arm harshly, pushing her into a nearby chair aggressively. So Carmen stumbles backwards ungracefully and butt thuds, then throws a commanding pointer finger in her face. One of her talons only millimeters from the end of piercing Carmen's nose. Now sit. Like a good little puppy, or I might have to spank you. Meadow is throwing attitude, and with a tone and glare like hers I wouldn't argue. Carmen's face turns puce with outrage, her eyes darting wildly to Colton to overrule his second in command and chastise her for talking to her that way, manhandling her. But Colton inhales again, sighing heavily, and goes back to his previous position of sipping on his bottle of water. Carmen really does look like she may self-implode and make Meadows and my day after all. Meadow slinks over to Caesar on one of the armchairs and crawls onto his lap, curling herself around him and nestling her butt against his crotch. I can't help but watch the way he opens up and accepts her invasion, wrapping her in his arms willingly, and whispers something in her ear before she smiles at him sexily, and flutters a kiss on his lips quickly. So fluid, no refusal, and no insecurity in her that he might not want her sat on him. It's obvious they're completely bonded in all ways, and although I haven't seen her mark, I can tell it's done. They have that connection oozing from both of them that says their union is finalized and they can communicate on a deeper level than what we have so far. A mark can be wherever your mate decides to put it, although most males like to have it on show and put it on a femme's throat. Not all do. They're known for territorial possessiveness, so it's more common than not. Caesar is obviously very secure about his fiery hot femme can battle off males by herself. I find myself aching for that, wondering where Colton would choose to place his, and have to tear my eyes away from him before Carmen kicks off again. My heart beating a little too fast, and my soul yearning stronger than before. I miss his touch already. I realize I've zoned out, blinking back to reality, and they're talking about zones and patrols, and something to do with the new containment areas. I try to listen in as Colton explains that they're setting up homes in the valley to try and accommodate the families from other parts of the mountain tomorrow, that tents and temporary buildings will need to be erected, and the local bar and school on this side will be converted, along with the gym and the community hall. They have caravans and mobile homes coming out of storage for some, but a lot of the people they want to move closer are refusing to leave their homes and unite on this side. You can't force people to shift everything and up and leave to move a few miles. I get the why, but these people, they don't want to leave their homes for a tent in the fields. Cole. It's Jesus. And I watch as they all lean forward, seriousness kicking in as they talk this out and freely throw in opinions. Everyone except me. And of course Carmen, who is now focused on the conversation at hand and silently listening on the outskirts of the huddle, gazing longingly at Colton. We don't know when another attack will come, and it's easier to keep them safe if we have them here. Colton shrugs, seemingly repeating what he's been told, but a look flashing across his face tells me he doesn't agree. I almost will him to stop mimicking his father's words and be honest with what he thinks we should be doing. Easier to control, you mean? We all know your father has been angling for supreme reign for years, and this sounds a lot like he's trying to force the packs into one place. So they're easier to police. Matteo verbalizes what I guess I was thinking and feeling, surprising me that I'm not the only one. Colton throws a dangerous look at Matteo, a growl in the undercurrent as he jumps to defensive over an insult aimed his father's way. But Matteo doesn't back down. You know it, Cole. You know how he is. Tell me it's better to corral people together when they have a device that can disable us all within one space. And I'll drop it. Matteo talks sense, and I agree. Bringing the people together means we're a sitting target if they use the same device. At least spread out, we have a chance of escaping the effects and fighting back. They can't attack us all in one go with those things. Surely. I catch Colton glancing my way, something flickering across his eyes as he thinks, and then he turns back to Matteo. I miss the fleeting message in his look, not sure what it was meant to mean. Okay, maybe. I mean, we always knew he would try and maneuver some sort of union around the mountain. I just didn't think he would physically expect them to move here. The device. We don't know enough to be able to second-guess what it would do to us all in the valley. The range was limited in what we brought back. Colton is stiff, uneasy, and I can tell he doesn't like his pack questioning orders from above. He truly is hooked by the nose when it comes to his father, and I need to figure out how to get in there and remove the darn thing. Maybe I wasn't paired with Colton so he could save me from my life. Maybe I meant to save him from his. The fates work in mysterious ways. And things aren't always obvious. You can't keep tabs and instill fear into people if they're not close enough to feel your wrath. Radar butts in again, and it's not hard to see that when it comes to Juan Santo, Radar isn't completely loyal to his alpha. There's a hint of malice in that tone. Definite sarcasm in what he said, and I glance to Colton to see if he reacts in any kind of way. In fact, This whole conversation isn't all that friendly where Juan is concerned, and Colton isn't biting back in the way I expect. Outside, if anyone dared to offend his father, he would rip them a new one and leave their remains smeared across the mountain. So I'm a little surprised to find he lets them speak freely. I guess he respects them enough to let them be honest with their opinion. And nothing said is repeated outside of their circle of trust. I'm envious for a moment, a longing of belonging I used to know well eating at me. And it pushes me to go sit in the corner on a stool by the bar. Listening, but not part of this as it's not my place. And they are not my pack. My opinions on this mean nothing. Whatever the reason, he wants us out tomorrow afternoon, driving to the other villages and changing minds. Colton gazes at the floor this time, that same twinge of jaw muscle, and the color of his eyes glow a little amber for a second. A hint he isn't happy. His emotions in turmoil as I feel them ebbing this way strongly and suddenly, and it only takes a second to find out why. Is he really suggesting we apply force to families and children if they refuse to be rehomed? It's Caesar who bursts out with it, outrage in his tone, and almost accidentally evicts Meadow from his lap with his aggressive thrust, who looks equally startled, adjusting her position with a frown at him. Colton remains silent, and the room falls into matched hush as they take it in. I can feel and taste the confusion and disgust, but no one wants to be the first to say it. I gawp at him, not sure I heard that right. But looking from ashen face to ashen face, of a group of people who all know what he means. It dawns on me that's exactly what Juan wants. He expects his sub-packs to go and forcefully move people from their homes and into the valley floor on the south side, in the name of protecting them from attacks, but the motive is bringing them in and taking control. Refusal will not be tolerated, and I wonder what kind of punishment he plans to exact. Juan is a cold bastard of a man, and this isn't even as low as I expect he'll go. Juan always intended to push his agenda, and now he's using the attack as his excuse. He hungers for power and reign across the packs, and has been biding his time for so long. They won't be any safer camping in the valley than they will in their own villages under the guard of patrols and watchers. Setting up alarm systems and training all who can fight how to do so is a better use of their time. They can all work together to safeguard and improve security from their own homes. How are they going to care for and cater for the hundreds who live around the mountain skirt if they dump them all in the center of the valley on this side? There are enough Santos to successfully spread out and patrol the mountain every night after dark, the only time vampires can come out. They can rest in the day. Raising an alarm is enough to get them there fast. The orphanage is proof that they can span miles in half the time of a human in a car, and if they had warning, they would move to get there in time. With patrols already out there, the people would have way more expectation of getting through it. It makes no sense to bring them here. Matteo is right. This is about control. What good is gathering us all in one place? Like Matteo said, they set off that machine and every one of us corralled in the valley will be rendered useless. No one will be able to turn or fight back. It's easier to massacre a race when we're all laid like fish in a bowl. I'm sure they can make bigger or use multiple to hit us all at once. Jesus is now on his feet, pacing, agitated, and getting worked up by the second. I'm starting to feel the restless unease spreading through them all like a virus, as they mumble their agreeance, and I keep looking to Colton to say something. This is pointless. You think I don't think the same, and that I didn't try and reason with him. Nothing I said made a difference. It never does. Colton stands up, losing his temper, agitated too, and utterly drained. I can feel it coming off him intensely, and his eyes lock on mine again as he catches me across the room, ignoring Carmen throwing her own his way. Come on, Lori. I need to show you to your new room. I'm too tired for this, and we all need to meet down at mess hall for dawn. Go to bed, You reprobates. Stop arguing with me because it's futile, and it's not my place to make you obey him. We need sleep. I don't need to be asked twice. I jump up, suddenly a little too excited at being alone with him again, and know it's because I've mentally taken another path and have a plan in place. One that hopefully involves those beefy arms around me and the sexy mouth on mine. Once again. I go to follow him as soon as he makes a move towards the door, and almost gloat at the way Carmen's face crumbles. One of us could show her. She snaps bitterly, and he spins his head back, stares down at her with a blank expression, and doesn't move a step further. Yeah, you could. But that isn't what's happening. I want to do it. He shrugs with one shoulder, his tone icy cold, and it seems to shut her up. Recoiling back as though she's been burned, and I can tell he's in no mood for more defiance or squabbling. Her eyes mist over with what I expect are fake tears. Maybe not this time. And I really try hard to figure out what it is he ever saw in her. Carmen's a horrible person with a selfish, spoiled attitude, and I really don't like her. At least I now know why he's this way with her. The indifferent behavior and biting tone. Colton's ego's wounded, his pride dented, and as much as I don't want to believe he had any feelings for her after we imprinted, I can feel the hurt in him radiating outwards. He maybe doesn't love her anymore in the way he used to. But he cared enough that he thought he could salvage their pairing until she hurt him. Her betrayal in that way cut him deep, and he's lost all respect and trust for her, which doesn't bode well in a subpack. Colton walks past me on the way to the door, catching my hand in his as he does so, making me jump as I was too busy looking at her, and leads me out amid the happy, joyous co-o of Meadow. Don't stay up too late. Go to bed. Hers or yours. Either is optional, and fine by me, chicas. She laughs in that raunchy, cheeky way she has when she's being brazenly sexual. Echoing behind us as we leave the room, and I blush crazily, trying not to look his way as I catch his eyes flick to me. Nervousness envelops me once again, and instantly I'm back to being awkward and shy. Soon as we hit the corridor, he shuts the door and gives me a proper smile, swinging my hand in his like we're children, and tugs me closer so we rub arms as we walk. Working our way out before hitting the main passage, the closer I am to him, the more aware of how truly drained he is. It's seeping from every pore, and despite the smile and the playful behavior, I can feel his stress levels are elevated crazily, and his body is emitting a low depressive mood. You look really good. He says it with a half smile, one dimple on show, and I shrug childishly, still not owning it, as Meadow would say. I'm not sure about the look. It feels kind of weird to be wearing such tight clothes. I squirm as I try to unwedge the jeans from my butt gracefully, and he throws me a cheeky look as he watches me attempt it. Want some help? It's a grin. A smooth move kind of flippant comment made by the males who walk around like cockerels in a henhouse, and not an actual serious question. It's obvious he expects my usual rebuff. But instead, I throw a smile back his way, swallow down the utter nerves and butterflies he's hitting me with and nod. In the way Meadow showed me, she gave me a crash course in simple flirting while doing my hair earlier, and I throw on the sexy smile and flutter my lashes, butting in against him coyly. If you like. I bite on my lower lip. Not sure if I'm doing it right, but his reaction, I guess, says I am. Colton trips over an imaginary piece of carpet and coughs to cover his clumsy response. Immediately less confident, perplexed, and failing at Mr. Smooth. All in one fell swoop. Cocky but not actually willing to follow through. Not the response I was expecting. He frowns, swallows a little obviously, and fixes his eyes ahead of us while he regains his previous composure. It's not like I couldn't tell, and I throw a one-shouldered coquettish shrug. Absolutely dying inside with how weird and fake this feels. I've never flirted or played games with boys. I never had any interest in doing it before Colton. Colton turns away, seemingly putting a little distance between us and the opposite of what I was going for, as he points us up a flight of stairs. This way, you should memorize the route so you can find it again. His tone is distant, his mood not exactly what I expected, and I sigh at the deflated mood that hits me heavily. We're away from the main hall and the grand sweeping staircase, and in some back corridor with narrow steps to the next floor. Every wall painted beige, dark wood floors, and potted plants dotted around prettily. They have even started replacing windows up here, and one newly glazed one is letting light shine through. Colton begins leading the way, his hand no longer in mine as he slides in front of me to climb the stairs, and I suddenly feel awkward and shy that my attempt at flirting backfired badly. I don't get it. He's meant to be completely hot for me, and yet acts like a coy virgin who doesn't do well with girls at my first attempt of encouragement. I know for a fact he's not a virgin and not inexperienced with girls. I have all his memories. He seems all too hyper-focused on where we're going and no longer on my presence. His mood's still weird and now he's making me feel the same way. Sort of sad, depressed, and a bit tetchy and unsociable. Here, this door on the right. This used to be Taryn's room, but she made it up and now lives with Franco, her mate on the 3rd floor. Room's all yours. Colton steps in front of a large dark wood door, tucked into a tiny alcove in an airy part of the hall that widens out, using a key card and motions for my hand when he slides it into the machine. Hand here, and it'll save your print for future use. No card or key necessary. He throws me a courteous, quick-lipped smile, takes my wrist, lifts my hand, and holds it on the smooth black panel, pressing in digits as he does so, and then yanks the card out before it flashes red and beeps. He lets my hand go quickly, as though he doesn't want to be here holding it anymore, and I can sense his urgency in wanting to leave. It brings me down with a thud and a seriously painful ache in the chest, not hidden away in the west wing anymore. I ask quietly, sounding as somber as his mood, looking for something to engage him in conversation with, because I literally feel his intentions of sneaking away and leaving me to my new room. And it sucks. He's disconnecting from me, shutting me out, and it's shredding my soul to pieces. Becomes clear that's what he's doing. He wasn't happy that I decided you should be among the rest of us, and part of this pack, seeing as he's trying to unite the mountain. Convinced him your showdown was under better control and wouldn't happen again. Colton avoids my eye, obviously not really telling me everything that was said, and he gave in, just like that. I hate the fact that I can sense he's being evasive and keeping things from me. Not exactly. Sometimes I'm good at arguing my corner. Sometimes... Colton looks away, seemingly defeated, as though tonight has taken a toll on him. Whatever was said to his father, I can sense his strained emotion and weary mood coming at me like a fog the longer we stand here. Just tell me, I'm a big girl, I can take it. I sigh, desperate with a raw, pleading tone, letting my frustration out, and I catch the flicker of hesitation before he sighs. He doesn't care that you have a special gift. He wouldn't entertain the topic. Shut me down and bombarded me with his disappointment in my lack of putting my pack and my responsibility first. His crestfallen face and the surge of pain that hits me in the chest tells me his father's words wounded him. It serves to remind me, though, that this is not all about him doing the right thing. It's also about pleasing someone he looks up to and loves and has always obeyed. As he's meant to, he swings the door open and steps aside, making it clear he's depositing me like a gentleman, and nothing else. He's done talking about this, and he isn't going to argue about it either. No usual Colton touchy-feely, no intimacy, or any kind of anything. He just steps back and holds it wide as the lights flicker on automatically, putting space between us and fixing a look on me that screams more of commander than boy that loves me. He's closing off, shutting me out, and my heart starts to bleed. If you need anything, then mind link me. There's food in your room. I had it put here before I came to the communal. Enjoy your dinner and get some rest. I'll come for you at dawn. It's empty and devoid of emotion. He moves to leave as I step inside, but panic grips a sudden response out of me. That churning nausea that he's being like this, slicing at my guts and ripping my soul in two. Colton. What have I done? I blurted out like a needy sad Carmen type, and he pauses, frowns, stopping mid-step, and turns back at me with a very noticeable wince of pain flashing across his face. It kills some of the sterile stance, and he seems to sag a little. You haven't done anything. It's me. My father wants me to stand up and take my place. He wants me to mark Carmen at the next moon and resolve what he calls our little issue. Nothing I say makes a difference. He won't bend. So maybe it's better for us to keep our distance and hope that something changes. Or that my marking her kills our bond. He's deflated. As broken as he's making me, looking so much younger and vulnerable than his years in this moment, and giving up so easily. My instinct is to get mad and yell at him, like I've done so many times already in our short acquaintance. But my plan of earlier pushes through, reminding me that he's lost and set afloat right now. He's in pain too, and struggling to navigate it as much as I am, so much weighing on his shoulders that I don't understand and can't see. I need to bring him in and secure him to my harbor. Stop letting him pull all the ropes alone. Stop expecting him to sail against the storm without direction, making all the moves. Don't push, even if my instinct is to feel disappointed in him and seethe with anger. I need to stop, breathe, and look at him another way, as someone who needs gentle coaxing and nurturing. He's stubborn, he's bound by duty, but I have his heart, all of it, and I need to help that power grow from inside out. I lower my tone, gently whispering as I cross towards him, fighting my own nerves and inexperience, and putting faith in the fact I know he loves me. Taking my cue from Meadow, I step across the gap and raise myself on tiptoes to reach him, laying one hand flat on his muscular chest and lifting the other to his jaw gently. Eyes resting on his, locking onto him the way that always does and makes me feel safe. My own heart swelling, my body tinging with the nearness of him. Don't give up on us. I breathe it out, almost against his lips. I get so close, inside somersaulting with the need to kiss him. I run my fingers up his cheek and cup his face, pulling him close so softly. My mouth grazes his lips and I feel him physically sag into my touch needily, melting against my briefest connection, his pupils dilating as I bring his forehead to mine. No matter what he says or how he acts, his truth is always in our touch, and he cannot deny the affect it has on both of us. That need to fluidly pour into one another, and inability to fight when we touch. I'm not worthy of you. Today showed me that. It's husky, strained, and low. It's self-pity and exhaustion. Defeat, because his fathers knocked him down once more and left him reeling from cruel words. I refuse to accept what he's saying as truth to what he's feeling. And instead of anger, I lean up and press my lips gently to his, startling him with the sudden contact and refusing to back down. It takes a second of pause, his body going rigid before he relaxes, pushes his face forward to fully kiss me, and his hand comes to slide around the back of my neck as he takes over. It doesn't take much to ignite fire in him, and I groan as he gives me what I'm yearning for. Kissing him is so familiar, and as I open my mouth to let things progress quickly, all those feelings and crazy urges rush back like a massive tidal wave hitting the shore. So easy to become consumed and intoxicated with need when we're touching this way. My lips parting wider, to give him access as his tongue slides against mine, and he kisses me with passion and expertise that makes my toes curl, and my stomach tingle. Colton stirs against me, his body easing against mine, relaxing into the hold we have on one another, and meeting my groan with his own murmured growl of enjoyment. We're made to kiss one another, and I can't imagine anyone ever tasting this good or making me feel this complete. Neither can deny our bond when we kiss. It's potent and all-consuming. Just as his hands begin to slide down my back and over my ass, bringing my pelvis to his, hinting at his sexual excitement, he stops abruptly. Catching himself, he pulls away fast, so suddenly he literally rips us apart, and I'm stunned with the sudden release, eyes flickering open to find myself tottering on unsure legs. He steps back, fully releasing me, almost letting me topple with the sudden loss of support. But I catch myself on the nearby doorframe, breathless and panting with how hot that makeout session was, and glance up at his shell-shocked expression. We shouldn't. It's only going to make this harder. He closes right back down inside of his own head. That softness of his expression, the dilated pupils and stirring body, it all reels back at speed as he regains perfect control. I, however, am fire-dupe and burning with crazy heat, which triggers severe frustration at the sudden halt. I disagree. I think we should take what time we have and no regrets with it. My body yearns for you, and I could feel it was mutual. We're doing nothing wrong in the eyes of the fates. This is what they wanted for us. Stay with me tonight, share my bed, give us something more than this. It's brazen for me, and I swear I hear Meadow's voice in my head, egging me on as the words tumble out. A confidence growing that I never knew I could possess, and a shameless need to see this through. I'm all in and willing to lose my virginity tonight. In fact, I want it badly. I don't care if I'm not marked. I'll let him in my bed and make him bond to me in other ways if it makes him start fighting for his right. Sex will bind us, and I'm willing to use any tool to get my mate's head out of his ass. I can't. I'm sorry. Colton can't look me in the eye, and I can feel the agony waving his way from me. The turmoil, the regret, the confusion as he fights his own willpower. My boy's screwed up in the head and fighting with his own emotions and morals. I realize this is going to be tougher than I thought, and it's not just Juan's command. Colton's fighting with his own inner voice about what's right and what he should do. I can taste the indecision as it's thick enough around me to color the air. He steps forward, eyes still downcast, and surprises me with a fast, fleeting, yet soft kiss on the forehead that renders me mute. A moment of his gentle, affectionate side to let me know he does care, even if his refusal makes it seem otherwise. It's not that I don't want you. Just please, don't hate me. He doesn't wait for an answer, turns on his heel rapidly and heads back the way we came. At speed, not looking back, wounding me with how much he fighting this. My heart thuds through my chest. Stomach in knots as I watch him go. But I remind myself that I'm not a girl who falls at the first hurdle. And I won't give up. If you change your mind, my door for you will always be open. I'm not giving up on us. My mind link follows him out of sight, my heart aching harder the further he gets away. And I'm close to tears but bite them back, refusing to break down and be weak over this. Colton needs strength and I, going to prove I have a lot of it. I survived my family's death, and my makeshift packs. I'm tougher than I ever gave myself credit for, and it's time I started to own that. I wait for what seems like an eternity of agonizing silence in the air, until he's far out of reach emotionally, and the sounds of his footsteps on wood have drifted hopelessly away. I almost break down and cry when no response comes at all. Desolate and alone, when he delivers that one little ray of hope. I love you, Lori. I won't give up on us either. It's been a few days since Colton told me about his mom, and I swear she keeps plaguing my thoughts. It's like a tiny itch in my brain I can't shake, and I keep coming back to it repeatedly for no obvious reason. I even dreamt of her last night, and it was the weirdest, most confusing thing ever. It came after I finally located a memory of her in this shared library of thoughts and couldn't shake her soft face from my visuals. I must have tried too hard and implanted her in my brain to mess with me. It's the only explanation. I do remember her vaguely without Colton's influence. Only in my own memories she's faceless, because I couldn't remember her all that well, so it's nice to apply features to her. She has Colton's flawless beauty, his black hair, darkest chocolate eyes, and sallow skin, with a soft ambience that's less masculine than his. She used to come to the library near our farm every weekend to read books to the children. I remember her being a caring, quiet lady, well-spoken, well-dressed, and she had no prejudices whatsoever against wolves from rival packs. The children were all one to her. She always wanted to see us live in peace and harmony. And she had this warm pull that I see in Colton sometimes. When he isn't closing up on me and freezing me out, the dream lingers in my mind, despite being up for hours. And now, I'm sat on the grass taking a break from training and can still feel her voice ebbing back to me from the recess of my mind, fatigue letting it slip back in as I cool down and catch my breath. And her haunting melodic tone filled with pleading rings through again. The words which woke me this morning, "Save us," it's all that comes through, and it gives me the same shivers it did when I dreamt it. She walked up to me, in a bright white sterile, wall-less space, with no one else around me but blurred nothingness of light and stale air. Standing in the middle of what felt like a hospital. I don't know, unsure where I was meant to go or how I even got there. She appeared in the distance at first, catching my eye, almost hazy and surrounded by a fog which cleared as she came closer. Dressed in a light shapeless gown, almost like a medical covering, except it was pure snow white, not blue or patterned. Her hair was loose, free, and hung longer than I can recall from my memory bank, almost touching her waist. Whereas she always kept it jaw length in even Colton's memories. When she came into focus at first, I could see her cheeks were wet with tears, eyes bloodshot, her skin streaked where they had fallen repeatedly, and her smock was soaked through, as though they'd been absorbing thousands of them. For an eternity, her desperate sadness consumed and overwhelmed me, and I was rooted to the spot, unable to breathe with the heaviness of her pain. She was eerily pale, beautiful still, but only the shadow of the woman from Colton's memories, thin and worn down, as though her life was being sucked away. She touched my face softly, startling me with the sheer heat she exuded, leaned in so close that she almost kissed me, her warmth invading the coolness of my own air, and whispered it right into my face, startling me to wake in the dull stillness of my own room. Those two damned words, shuddering again. Aware the memory of her touch on my skin has pushed a physical sensation on my cheek, and I touch it in a bid to remove the feel of it. The dream felt so real, and I hate that it won't leave me alone in waking hours, replaying on a loop and affecting me so deeply. The total opposite to Colton, though, as he's been practically absent, physically and mentally, something he's been doing for an infuriating number of days. It's like opening up about her reminded him of all the reasons he chose to reject me, and he backtracked at 100 miles an hour and completely pulled away. He's been on active avoidance ever since, and it's both broken me and pissed me off beyond the limits of boundary. He comes to training, barks orders at me from a safe distance, and has our mind link on permanent closed door. It's making me madder than hell, infuriating that once again he has done another U-turn. But whenever I try to talk to him, he walks off and blanks me. He makes sure I can't get close. I can't touch him. And he either sticks with the sub-pack so I can't get him alone or leaves before anyone else does so I can't follow. A big fat stay away from me aura all around that dense head of his. And he won't even look me in the eye. I know what he's doing. And as much as I want to punch him in his genitals for it, I do understand. But it's just so frustrating. What makes it worse is Carmen has caught on to the strained atmosphere and is laying on the oozing flirt mode with all her might, driving even the males of the pack to eye roll every time she baby talks him. I think she sees it as hope, or an opening that she's on the path to getting him back. And it's making me sick to watch her smugly move in on him at every opportunity she gets. Colton still isn't tolerating her, but it doesn't mean I'm not having visions of turning and ripping her throat out multiple times a day. Killing a fellow wolf from your pack is a mortal sin, no matter the excuse, but I would happily pay the time for that crime. Meadow is the only thing keeping me sane. And last night she camped out in my room to cheer me up and distract me, watching movies and having girl time to throw off all the stresses of everything going on around us. She brought me clothes and makeup. Not that I need them now, my own belongings were left at my door when I came back from training a couple of days ago. I suspect Colton went and packed up everything with my scent on in the orphanage. But I can't be sure, and he won't stick around to let me ask him at all. It adds to my fury because it shows he still cares. He still thinks about my needs. But he won't face me at all. His mind is set, and I know what this means for us. He's already chosen his course of action, and he's biding his time until it's done. He doesn't come to mess hall to eat either. Just shows up at the park to train, and leaves as soon as we're done for the day. He spends the rest of his time with Juan patrolling the lay of the land, and overseeing the training camp, and the new buildings. I've seen them walking together many times, and I almost couldn't control my own loathing growls, or the hatred I have for that man. The pack is getting uneasy, and Meadow mentioned that he hasn't called any kind of communal since, as though he's avoiding any real dialogue with any of us. He knows the pack will have questions about this. He brought me to them, made it seem like I might have a chance, and then snubbed me as they were beginning to accept my presence. He's caught inside his own head as he tries to work things out, but we're losing time. Ticking away slowly as the full moon approaches in its cycle, and I don't think I can take much more. Logic is telling me to give up on him, but I don't want to accept this is it, that he's done and given up on us after what he said to me. My heart doesn't want to believe he could be this way. I've been lost in my own thoughts, anxious, obsessing, crying, and worrying myself sick with the chaos of this lack of closure. I'm not being a cold idiot and cutting him off, or avoiding him, like he is me. I would talk to him in a heartbeat if he let me. It's like he just abandoned me after dumping me in his sub-pack. With no idea what I'm supposed to be now, how to feel, and what I'm meant to do after the full moon. If he marks her, where do I go? What do I do? I'm only here because of my link to him. I'm not a Santo. I don't belong here, and although the sub-pack seem to be warming to me, I'm not bonded to them. I'm not one of them, and Carmen will kick my ass to the curb the second he marks her. She'll be his beta until she takes her place as Luna, pushing Meadow down the ranks from merely becoming his mate. That's how it works. She'll have more say than any of them. And I can see Colton allowing her to move me out for the sake of their pairing. She hates me with a passion, and spends all her time either drooling after him or throwing me shade. It's just a waiting game. Until she has that power to finally eject me, I exhale heavily, and pull myself up off the grass where I've been sitting cross-legged for the past 10 minutes, ripping at strands absent-mindedly, letting my mind run riot as Meadow strolls on up beside me and slumps down too. She's barely flushed, no evidence of panting after scaling 30-foot tree climbs, and almost no sweat has formed on any part of her at all. I'm over here looking like I rolled in a puddle, red-faced, and having a cardiac arrest some 20 minutes after I did it, and she's utterly unaffected. I have to admit though, in only a few short days, my stamina is improving, and I no longer hit the shakes and near vomit like the first time we did this. I'm getting stronger. What is it when men today? I swear, I must be getting my own cycle because I want to stab idiots in the head. It's like the haze is coming in and making them all stupid or loco. Meadow falls back on the grass, seeming very athletic in pink leggings and matching sports bra that enhance her natural assets. Caesar has been driving her mad the past few days, with his overprotective side kicking in as Juan upped the training schedule and started pushing his agenda a little harder. He's been all over her, shadowing her through the course, stopping her before any he thinks might be dangerous, and meeting her fury at mollycoddling her. Males can't help it, even if their femmes are capable. It's that need to shelter their mate. The haze is mating season. And yes, it's fast approaching and can make the males a little crazy possessive, oversensitive, and willing to wrap their mates in wadding. It's an inevitable part of our year, which thankfully is short-lived, but sees every male and femme who've been turned go into horny overdrive. Most mated couples don't leave the bedrooms for days on end. The unmated are fair game and result in rushed unions after it's over. Many markings out of unwanted puppings have been born in the past. It's craziness. I'm not looking forward to it coming at all. Seeing as this will be my first year on this side of the fence, and I have no idea how it's going to feel. Especially with a head and heart invested in a guy who intends to mark another. Meanwhile, the villagers around the mountain are refusing to budge with. Only a few actually moving to the makeshift accommodation Juan has been building. I know this is angering him and it's denting his ego that these people don't see him as the authority he thought they did. After all these years of swanning around, thinking his transition to ruler was set in stone, and no one would dispute it, his anger is obvious. And the show of force yesterday as trucks came in, depositing screaming women and children in the camp, hinted that he's snapped and started to take them against their will. It's horrendous, and I watched in horror as women with bound wrists, roped so they couldn't fight, were hauled out and unclamped to be reunited with hysterical children from another truck. He separated them, taken babies from mothers in a bid to keep them compliant, their mates following soon after, giving up the fight and coming to submissive control to be with their families. Who does that? It left a mixed feeling among the Santos, and everyone has been on edge, nipping at one another, having to police the new additions in case they try to return home. You can feel the utter disgust in the air around us. No one questioning their alpha, but no one agrees with this. The Santos aren't as bad as I used to think they all were, and it's obvious that many are not like Juan at all. Colton was beside him on the podium when the first trucks came in, and he couldn't stomach it for more than seconds. Saying something to his father, I could see his aggression peaking, his expression thunderous, his eyes glowing even from this distance, and his actions animated as though showing his disapproval angrily. They argued and Colton stormed off and stayed out of sight for the rest of the deposit. The elders all looking on in silent agreement with Juan, showing who exactly in this hierarchy were the empty-hearted and power-hungry. With all the control, traitors to their own kind. It feels like this place is turning into a prison, much like the home was, with wardens. And it's fast collapsing around Juan's ears, as wolves begin to question this in the corners and hallways. You hear the whispers, but they soon fall silent for fear it'll get back to him. Everyone knows he's ruthless, and will punish any one of them. Blood or not, he has his own lethal pack of war-bitten psychotic wolves who do his bidding. His elders, his brother, and his beta. 4 deathly loyal sub-packs at his beck, and call if you dismiss Colton's strong enough of a mini-army to get wolves to fear them. Juan's untouchable and has the force to back up his claim to being the uniting alpha. He rules with fear, not respect. There's no care in his heart. There's been no word on any vampire attacks beyond ours since the orphanage. We've had no word that Juan has actually let anyone know about, and there hasn't been any new hits or hints of a threat. Apart from my new living situation, it's like it never happened, and no one mentions the lives we lost that day. I didn't even get to bury them or pay my last respects. The cleanup crew moved in, and their bodies were burned outside the city limits, without anyone being told until after it was done. Like worthless trash that needed to be disposed of. A black mark Juan wanted to wipe clean and push out of sight, because he can never be seen to be failing at anything, Juan hiding more shame. The same way he hides his failure mate, Luna Sierra Santo. It seems he likes to keep secrets and pretend history is not what it is. I wonder how many of the stories of our victories of the war have been exaggerated and twisted. No one talks of the fallen or the battles they lost. They only teach us of the heroic wins and the wolves that came back. Tell me about it. Colton is high on my hit list today. Not that I'll get close enough to do anything about it. I sulk into my own lap, answering Meadow, depressed and exhausted with this situation, and Meadow leans up on her elbows to look at me. He won't even talk to me about it, Chica. God knows I've tried, but he's inside his own head. He does this sometimes, although not for so long, goes into lockdown and pushes everyone to arm's length until he figures it out on his own. Been this way since the wars made him grow up way too fast. I think the impending full moon is only making him worse. As the clock ticks down, and his father is still messing with his head. I swear, if Juan left him alone for just a week, maybe even a couple of days, that boy would soon see right and do what his heart is telling him. Meadow spreads to star-shaped across the grass and blows out a huge lungful of air, as though to expel her frustration, staring at the sky. Has his father said anything more about Carmen? I ask outright, afraid to have these conversations with her, as they always leave me feeling worse, but she's the only person I have had to talk to, and I know she's on my side in this. Only that Colton needs to think of the future of his people. Honestly, I don't even know why Juan is rooting for Carmen. She wasn't good enough a month ago when he was constantly telling him he needed to get serious and find a better mate. I don't get it. Meadow shrugs, rolling on her side to perch herself up on one elbow, picking out some peeking daisies and twirls them between those talons she calls nails. Wait. What? I thought Juan was invested in her as the best femme for Luna. He's sure as hell fighting her corner hard enough. I blanch, my head spinning to her fully as rage ignites inside of me, pushing self-pity down. Nah. You got that all wrong. Juan has never warmed to her. He only seemed to take any kind of interest in their relationship the second the fates brought you to Cole as his compañera. Up until then, he was one of the reasons Cole hadn't yet settled and marked her, always whispering in his ear that he wasn't ready. That he's too young and had time, that he should sow some wild oats and live a little. He only started with this marking shit when he knew Cole had his sights set on you. So, his dislike of me contradicts even that. Screwing with Colton's choice even before me. I swear, I wish I knew why he was so against me. It can't just be because of the home and losing my family. I exhale, grabbing at the grass in exasperation and yanking out some more stems before watching them blow from through my fingers on the wind. Set free, roots severed, to find their own path, wherever the wind chose to blow them, and it stirs something in my head. The man is all about honor and power. It's totally about you being one of the unwanted. It's like a black mark on his bloodline to accept the fates-bonded one so unworthy to his only son. He's obsessed. I don't think he's all there, since the wars, a little loco if you ask me. She points at her temple and rotates in a circle, leaning up further to gaze at me with crossed eyes. Jesting that he's crazy, but it doesn't bring any lightness to the conversation. I hate him. Even if he is mentally unwell, he's the reason nothing in my life has been good for a long time. He's the one who called the packs to unite and go to war. He's the reason my mother left me to follow his call when they asked for warriors to protect our lands, even though he wasn't our alpha. My father tried to stop her. He knew they had little chance of returning. He wasn't a warrior. None of my people were. They should have stayed behind and protected the ones here, not left it to the children like Colton to take on a man's job. There's no point on dragging over the failings of the past. But I can't help it. The wars were a shambles for our people, even if we did end up coming out on top. The packs had no tactics or pulling together until it was almost too late. So many who should never have gone left our weakest vulnerable to be watched over by young wolves or newly turned. We were lucky to survive attacks on our own homelands at all. Juan isn't the man he used to be. Cole didn't just lose his madre in those wars, his father came back a changed man. The battles they got inside his head. He wasn't exactly soft before, but he only got worse. I think it's why Colton clings on so hard to winning his approval, clawing to stay connected to the only parent he has left. His father single-handedly raised him these past 10 years, molded him into a man. Cole's loyal to a fault. He may seem tough sometimes, but he has his madre's warm heart and inability to see the worst in people. It's his biggest strength, and yet, his worst flaw. Meadow and I stare intensely at one another, somber moods reflected, before I break contact and gaze off into the clouds to try and find some peace. My head a mess with all of this. My heart aching badly, like it's done for days now. Do you think Juan turned this way because of the Luna too? I so desperately want to understand why someone who was once held high and respected among his own pack is now feared and questioned. Why his own hide in corners to disapprove of his tactics, where the loyal would never question. That's not the sign of a healthy united pack. That's the sign of a failing alpha. Clinging onto his power. A sinking ship, and it doesn't bode well for what Colton will inherit. I don't know. All I know is, he's not the uncle I knew as a girl. And I don't recognize him anymore. Cole tries to pretend he's still in there. Maybe he really sees it, and looks for the best in him. I think he's scared of being cast away like his madre was, and forgotten by all who love him if he pushes it. His father likes to throw it out there that Colton has her weak genes, and it's probably why he tries so hard to do what Juan wants of him, to prove him wrong. Colton isn't weak. He's confused. Even I can see that. What do you think Juan would do if he defied him and marked me on the full moon? Do you think Juan would send him away? Send us away? I have to know if there's hope of changing his mind, that maybe Colton will still come through for me, even if his behavior is telling me that he's already pushed all indecision aside and chosen a path to take. I need to cling on to a tiny little ray, that there's still time to sway him. I didn't, until Cole told me he believes his father would find a way to take you from him if he defied his decision. Juan hasn't said it outright, but he's implied it. Cole's worried you would be the one taken in the night the way his madre was, and kept from him with no way of finding you again. God knows he hasn't stopped trying to find her. But there's no trace in those who know. They don't speak about it. He's no idea which of the elders helped, and the shaman was no part. He's also baffled as to where she is, and has been helping to trace her. I always wondered about the shaman. Colton seems to trust him, and he doesn't seem to spend his days by Juan's side as the elders do. In fact, the shaman hides away until the turning ceremony each month, and rarely comes out. How can he still blindly love a man who can do that to him? She was his mother. I despair at the thought. Sinking down into my crossed legs and perch my elbows on my knees so I can lean my chin into my palms. Propping myself up while my body sags in deflation. Love, Chica. It does loco things to rational people, and no matter how cold Juan is, Cole still loves him as a son should. He's all he has in terms of real family. His own grandmother has a weird aversion to her grandson and barely looks at him. She's Juan's mother, and since birth she never bonded to Cole at all. It's really weird. Meadows sighs heavily too, and I can taste her hopelessness in the air, seeping into me. She frowns down at the grass and goes back to picking daisies, throwing them over her shoulder listlessly in distraction. There really isn't any hope for us. Is there? Colton cutting me off. All of this, it's to protect me. He's going to mark Harmon, and that's going to be the end of it. I can feel it in my bones. Whether he loves me or not, his duty, his reason, his stubborn nature, all point at doing what's expected, because he thinks it will be a resolution that secures the pack's future. And he cares about that more than about us. As much as I go around in circles in my head, I can't see any other outcome. As much as I want him to be strong for me, it's not really about that. He is strong. He just cares too much about the people he's meant to care about. Alpha's in his blood, and putting the people first is part of that leading nature of his type. As much as his gifts, his personality, his looks, and his DNA, he's programmed with this preset, need to be bound to his duty for them. He's faced with all these paths and possibilities, and even if he chooses me over all of them, he has a fear his father will either take me from him, and I don't doubt he would, or that I'll be so damaged by life as his Luna, that he'll scar my mind in the process and lose me in other ways. Seeing the way Juan's been treating his own kind these past days has sickened me to my stomach, and I need to start putting myself first. I need to face facts. Colton won't endanger me with the possibility his father will snatch me from him. I think he has more faith in my ability to be mentally strong, though. Although it's not that clear-cut in his head, and I don't doubt he isn't aware of it, he'll do what his father wants because his hands are tied. Colton is fated to lead his people. He's known it since birth. He can't run from that. And his father holds all the ropes where he's concerned. He's bound, unable to free himself no matter what way he turns. And his future has never been his to command. Colton is going to betray the bond. For the love of me. As crazy as that sounds, it's clear in his behavior and the way he's again shut me off. He's trying to make it easier because he knows what he has to do. He knows that if we continued to stay close, he would keep fighting for us and not fully submit to what his father wants. I can't keep being mad about the fact that our bond should be stronger, because I know this isn't about that. The bond is strong. It's solid in a way. It's what keeps pulling him to me, fighting his willpower, and messing with his head repeatedly. It's what'll push him to mark her, in the hopes of breaking me free, and keeping me safe from harm. His need to protect me. The only problem is that, once he does mark her, then I shouldn't be here. I may still have a link that endangers his life, but without his heart and eye on me the way it is now, Juan might make a move and take me away anyway. I bet Colton hasn't even factored that in at all, because he doesn't want to see his father's that wolf. Juan may still make me disappear, and go wherever Colton's mother is, to be sure his son doesn't get tempted in any way. I'm the enemy in Juan's eyes. Nothing changes that. Not even his marking. I just wish I knew why he hated my kind with this force of passion. We were all the same once upon a time. It's not my fault my family died. It's his. I wish I could argue. But the last few days, Cole being like this, I don't think there is. I know him, Chica. His mind is set. He thinks he's protecting you. Meadow sits up fully, hugging her own legs as tears mist her eyes, and she reaches out and strokes my hair, her desperation rising as she too accepts that this is how it is. Neither of us has wanted to say it in the last few days, but the tides are changing. We can feel it in the air. Our people are perched on a cliff and change is coming, whether we want it or not. The threat thickening the atmosphere, and we both know this is futile. I need to accept it before then. Just not let Colton factor into my plans and focus on doing what's right for me. My voice is strong, my words direct, but my heart wavers in blinding agony. A burning pain spreading through every vein because I know what I must do. Meadow begins to cry softly, pretty droplets rolling down her flawless skin, and I can tell she knows where this is heading. Her silence is her agreement. Her sorrow is her blessing. You'll always be my pack, no matter where you are. I love you like blood. You were meant to find me, my Hermana, and I'll never stop caring about you. Her statement tells me she does know, and she isn't going to argue about it. She's a realist, and she knows my life won't improve when Colton marks Carmen. I'll be this inconvenient issue, stuck in the way of Carmen's happy ever after. And we both know she's too spiteful to let that fly. I know what I have to do to ensure my own safety and my own future. I love you too, Meds. I'm sorry. I guess deep down I've been churning this over for days, knowing it's where I was heading. But until now, I didn't want to face it or say the words. I've pulled my head apart and churned my mind in circles over this, and it all kept coming to the same blank spot I didn't want to fill in. You have to cut the roots to let the grass fly free and find its own place to seed and grow. Meadow's soft tears turn to shuddering fat ones, and she scrunches her body into a ball, cuddling herself tighter to console, so we won't draw the attention of the sub-pack who are racing around the run track nearby, chasing one another in high spirits for once. I wish there was another way, but I know what you're saying is true. You were never welcomed, and there's a chance the marking will completely sever your bond and leave you as Juan's prey. He won't leave loose ends to come back and mess with what he wants. It's all the confirmation I need as a plan clicks into place, and she verbalizes the fear that's been gnawing at me. If Colton marking Carmen does sever my tie to him, Juan will kill me and burn my body with the rest of my rejects. That's how little I mean to him. No one will notice if I go, and Colton, maybe in a few days, might question it, but the full moon will swoop in and he'll do what he has to. His avoidance has meant he hasn't linked in any way, doesn't come by my room, and avoids any interaction. Besides Meadow, he's the only one who would care if I don't show up for training. Don't make me say goodbye. Don't tell me when. I don't think I can handle knowing. I would stop you. I don't want to keep that kind of secret from Caesar. He would know. I can't lie to him. Meadow sniffs from within her body cocoon, desperation all around her as her heart bleeds. I understand, and I reach out and touch her gently on her knee. My own eyes misting over, the pain just as bad, but I hold myself together. Apprehension circling in my gut, but my focus is clear and my mind made up. Sisters don't say goodbye. They say laters. Chica, I have thing to figure out and plan, so I'm going upstairs. I use Meadow's pet name. Our eyes meet as damp emotional smiles are passed. In that one instance, I know a love that I've needed for the past 8 years, a true friend, and it kills me that I only found it to leave it behind. I'm going to miss those blue eyes and that sassy spunk of my beautiful wild femme sister. I pull myself to my feet, head determined, and surprisingly free of tears, despite her breaking her heart and crying floods as she watches me move. She stays immobile, like she's stuck on the grass, unable to do anything else for now. It hurts more than anything in the world, not too dissimilar. A pain to having Colton reject me, but there's something inside of me pushing on and keeping me calm. I can't sit here and wait for the inevitable and then cry when it all goes how I expect it to. I need to take control of my own life and do what I always intended. I had a plan, a chosen path, before I imprinted, to leave Radstone and the Santos behind and make it on my own. If the fates wanted me to be mated and stay, they wouldn't have made me his. They knew this would happen. They know everything, and yet they chose to throw dynamite in the fishing pond and sat back as chaos ensued. Tell him I don't want to see him for a few days if he asks. That I need headspace, that I don't want to train. I'll leave some time within that so you don't know. Give me a couple of days after I don't show for meals at the mess before you tell him I'm gone. I have to make sure my scent is faded before he finds out. I don't want anyone tracking me. Especially not him. And as our scent fades fast, I need at least 24 hours to get far away from here before he finds out I'm gone. Of course, I'm terrified. I mean, over the last days I've become marginally better at turning at will, my fitness improving, but I haven't perfected anything, haven't gotten to grips with my gifts, or how to use them. I'm going out there with no experience or skills to keep me safe, but I have to. It's safer than what I can feel is coming. I grew up taking care of myself and knowing the basics to get by. My father taught me to camp, to hunt in human form, and cook. Even if I was a little kid, I still remember. He taught me how to make fires and how to fish. It was his favorite pastime. Going rural as a human and living on the land. It was something he'd just like to do with Jasper and me. Daddy time with his children. I can't have forgotten all of that. Now I have the added bonus of being able to turn. I can hunt for food that way, eat as a wolf, nourish my body with things a human couldn't digest, like raw meat. I can sleep anywhere I find shelter, because we don't feel the cold. We don't get sick from the elements or die of exposure. I can keep moving until I find somewhere to stop. I don't mind being alone. I felt that way for 10 years until Colton. I'm not afraid to be isolated from others and doing it by myself. If I have to venture into the human world to get a job or somewhere to settle, then I'm sure it can't be that hard. I'm hardly a vulnerable weak girl with no way to take care of herself. Even in human form, I have my senses, my strength and speed, and I have my inner wolf to protect me. I can heal when I get sick or injured. I just need to find my courage and go. Time will do nothing in this situation anymore. And as much as leaving him will kill me, it will also set me free. It will set us both so. Him to focus on his responsibility and lead his people, and me to hope that our bond will fade or die in time, that I may never forget him, but that I may learn how to live without him. Despite what I said to Meadow about needing a couple of days, I don't. I already made up my mind that I leave at dusk. I just couldn't tell her that. I need to move before dark, as no one wants to be out there while our enemy can move around. I have a gap of time to run far and find shelter before the sun fully sets, and I'm done wasting time with this. I pick at my tray of food in the mess hall, pushing my salad around, completely distracted. Counting down the minutes before I can head upstairs. Already on edge, unable to think about anything else despite telling myself I'm only making it worse. My nerves are already shot. Meadow is keeping her distance, sat down the far end of the long table, because she knows she won't be able to hold it in if we sit close. She isn't really doing a great job of acting natural either, and I can almost taste her tension waving this way. I catch her eyes on me a couple of times, but she looks away quickly as though we've had some sort of lover's tiff, and I wish she would stop before someone picks up on it. I think she's the reason I'm on such high alert, because she's adding to my stress levels. The rest of the sub-pack are dotted around me, although still grouped in an obvious unit. I'm stuck between the twins, who decided they were flanking me in here today, and they are arguing about who got more coleslaw with their potato jackets while reaching over me in a bid to steal one another's food. Radar watching them silently across the table, like an amused parent who is not inclined to intervene until I can't take it anymore. Here, just take mine, okay? I'm not hungry, and you're making me crazy. It's a despairing snap as I push my tray at Remy on my left and skid my chair back to escape this nonsense. Not really caring if all eyes turn to quiet little me in surprise because they're behaving like a couple of toddlers. They behave like this at every mealtime, but I'm on edge and tetchy, and my nerves are pulled taut with the knowledge I have to get going soon. If I'm going to be ready by dusk, I have so much going on in my head, my heart is in eternal conflict, and I just need time out. I stand up, ignoring the inquiring glances, but no one questions, probably guessing I finally got as fed up with them. Bickering, as everyone else, as they do it almost daily. Everyone has been feeling the strain of late. With more trucks arriving this afternoon, more prisoners carried in from around the mountain, so I can be forgiven for the random outburst at the two most irritating of this sub-pack. They may be older than me physically, but it's obvious the twins are the two most juvenile among us. The mess hall is full of Santos. Chowing down at this hour, before they get called out to assemble for evening chores and duties. Patrols get pulled out on the main field an hour before dusks, so that gives me a window of opportunity to pack, get out, and move before the first patrol starts walking the perimeter. We have a rest and refresh hour in our rooms after meals, and for me that signals the last time I carry out my normal routine I have fallen into the past few days. It's my window of opportunity. I'm supposed to help with the cleaning crews every day after our evening meal. And tonight I'm in the laundry hall for the first time ever, as they like to rotate duties. It says so on the checklist I got given a few days back, but as I've never been in there before, I doubt I'll be missed. I'm going to get changed and freshen up before chores begin. I say it to no one in particular, trying to act natural and weirdly. Jesus is the one to reply, eyeing me up in that odd paternal way he has become accustomed to doing lately. You should eat. Keep your strength up. You've been looking pale these past few days. It's more of a stern command than a suggestion. Blinking at him, unsure if I heard him right, I throw a subtle smile his way, confused but appreciative of the unexpected care. He does sound like a dad or a big brother in this moment. Something I'm not used to. He's right. You look tired and eating well is part of fixing that. Here, sit. We'll behave. It's Remy this time, pushing my plate back at me, and as I glance from him to Doomy, who is nodding in agreement, both equally apologetically guilty, and it hits me so hard it makes me choke up. There's no malice or deviousness in their expressions. They genuinely are trying to advise me for my own good. I catch nods around the table as all eyes fall on me. The subtle expressions of agreement, that they've all noticed I'm not myself these past days, and telling me they care enough to point it out. They've accepted me as part of the sub-pack while I wasn't even paying attention. This is pack care. This is how it's meant to be. Watching out for one another and guiding one of your pack when they need it. Being a family. I almost break. Tears hitting the back of my eyes, and I have to try so hard to push them away and stay visually unaffected. To not crumble and show them. It's gotten to me because for them, it's natural behavior and they don't know how overwhelming it is or how absent from my life it's been. No one cared if I skipped meals in the home, if I looked pale, tired, or even just plain sad. No one mentioned it. No one pushed me to take care of myself. So invisible for so long, and now I feel like these people see me, really see me. I'm okay. And you're right. I'll eat later. I just need some quiet time to think. I play it off coolly, but inside so many warring emotions are kicking me in the ass, ripping my heart to shreds at the realization I have a chance of a real pack family with these people. And I'm leaving them behind. It's hard to swallow. Words sticking like glue in my throat. And my face aches with the effort of keeping my expression neutral. Are you coming to the comm room after chores? Caesar startles me with this one, and I blink at him completely nonplussed. Panic starting to set in that we might have some sort of meeting I have to show face for, or Colton will suspect. Yeah. We decided we needed some pack hang time, a few beers, movie. All chillin' together. Radar finishes it for him, all eyes on me, standing awkwardly poised, and I hesitate. Struggling to think up an instant refusal while dying inside that I'm literally being asked to initiate, to bond, and I can't. If ever there was a moment I wanted to kick the fates in the ass, it's now. You know the whole Carmen Colton thing, I don't think. I stutter my feeble excuse out, hoping they take pity on that messy triangle of heartache and release me from the invitations. He won't be there. He's avoiding all of us. So screw him. And Carmoanalde, she's following his ass around like she's in the haze already. She won't be there if he isn't. Remy, adding more weight to my already trodden down soul which is about to snap under all this pressure. I can't formulate a reply, sweat beading at the back of my neck when Meadow swoops in and saves my ass. Her eyes darting to me, concern etched on her brow. Give her some breathing space, guys. Girl's had a tough week and she's tired. Let her see how she feels after her first time down in laundry. We all know how tough that shift is. Stuck down in the sweat room. She throws me a supportive half smile that doesn't reach her eyes, and I could practically kiss her, my foggy mind grasping onto that tiny reason to bail, without actually rejecting the invitation. Yeah. I'll see how I feel after that. I hear it's pretty exhausting, and I might be wiped out after. Don't want to ruin your viewing with my snores. I make light of it, exhaling softly with relief that she gave me an angle, and the urge to kiss her all over again calms me down. Well, you know where it is. We'll be there after 9. Do me too now, and I honestly feel like this is some sort of sign, but I have to ignore it. I have to stay steadfast with the plan. Sure. I'll catch you guys later. I better go. It's a fast exit, saying it as I make a turn and head away, so I don't get sidetracked with any more conversation or unexpected invitations. Hoping not to get caught in another offer I can hardly refuse, and I'm so busy looking back, smiling at them guiltily, that I don't look where I'm going. I crash chest on into someone coming into the mess hall door. Oofding. With the sudden contact and wind myself lightly, bouncing, almost sending myself, and them flying with the force of collision. Ouch! I yelp out in response, winded momentarily, and inhale sharply, catching my breath in my throat when I realize who's standing a foot back from me now and looking equally surprised. That swoon-worthy cute boy face, dark sultry eyes under a furrowed brow, and I just want to melt into a hole on the floor and disappear. It could be me, and today that this happens. Hey. Sorry. Colton tries to avoid looking right at me, the awkward tension deafening, and for a moment I feel like looking up at the sky and screaming why. Someone up there is really testing me now. I know what I'm doing, and I can't deal with this on top of everything else. Heart beat 100 times faster, palms clammy, and legs weak as I get hit with the usual Colton effects. Hey. And bye. I throw the words in a hurried, almost sassy breath, duck around him fast, avoiding looking at him any more than I need to, and head on my way at speed, not really wanting to get into this with him. He affects me in all ways, and I can't stay strong with him in my head. It's already too raw, and I don't want to lose my courage. I don't look back. Almost fall over Carmen, running along behind him. Ignore her completely, and shut off my hearing when his voice echoes after me. I guess. Bye. He sounds wounded. But screw him. He's no right to be hurt at my rebuff, because he's literally ignored me for days. He's the reason I'm running. I try not to let myself react, just tuck my head down against my chest and keep going, pushing it all away. I stop thinking about him. Will my brain to focus on the steps I'm taking, and hyper speed up the stairs as soon as I get out of sight. I need to file everything into one little box in my head, and focus on doing, not feeling. My emotions are not helping. I have to take from logic to deal with this. I can fall apart later, when I'm out of here and miles away. I can break like a dam, if that's what I need to do. Wail to my heart's content. But just not right now. I have to be strong to see this through, despite telling myself that it doesn't stop a tiny little murmur of insane jealousy in the corner of my brain, shouting questions at me anyway. Why was he heading in there now? After days of not. He doesn't eat with us anymore for some unknown reason, and where was he with her? They didn't look like they just bumped into each other. She was definitely following him into the mess hall, although to be fair she's been following him for days anyway. I push the green mist aside, chastising myself for it, and get my ass up the stair, along the hall, and down to the end where my room sits. wasting no time getting inside, and breathe a sigh of relief when I lock it shut from the inside and sag back for a moment. To pull my wits together, I turn to walk to my bed and unexpectedly kick something light across the floor, looking down as it skids to the center of my rug and stops. I scoop down to pick it up. It's an envelope, and I recognize Meadow's gentle curving cursive on the front. I turn it over hastily, inhaling her heady mix of scent and perfume as I pull it open and gawp at the stash of cash inside. There's a note tucked in behind the money, and I pull it out to read it, hands shaking at my discovery. Once again overwhelmed. Hey, Sheikah, this isn't much, but you need it more than I do. My number is on the back of this. Keep it, you know where we are if you need us. No matter what, we're your pack. I'll miss you. Hamara, X. The tears mist my eyes, my throat swelling. So I almost can't breathe as ache hits me low in the gut and threatens to make me crumble. I push the note back inside quickly, trying to combat it and flick through the cash, mentally counting almost $200, and it breaks the wall that's been holding in the tears. I slump down onto the floor, like a disheveled sack, and begin to cry, holding it close to my chest and completely break down. It's not just for this, but for everything. Why now did I find my pack at a time when I thought I had no other option? Why would the fates give me something closer to a real home, only to make it unreachable by the tiniest stretch? I have to pull myself together and stop being weak. None of this matters, and it doesn't change things. I have to get my crap together and stick to what I decided. I have to stay strong and determined. I can't break, because if I do, I won't be able to put myself back together. I pull myself to get up and walk to the closet, despite heaving with racking breaths, sniffing as I try to stop the tears. I have to find some sort of bag to pack my shit up and focus on doing, not feeling. Luckily, whoever brought my things from the orphanage packed some of them in a large backpack that had been Vanka's. I drag it out of the bottom corner, holding it for a second, a fresh wave of pain twisting my insides as I stroke across the corner where she wrote her name in a black marker pen. Bold, jaggy letters that somehow represent who she was in life. I numb it out, swallow it down, and begin to haul out essentials and stuff them inside. I need basics. Like a couple changes of clothes, toiletries, the money, the snacks I have in my room. I need something to sleep with too, like a blanket to lay on the ground, and something to carry water in just in case I can't find a stream or river in hours. I don't know what else to pack, and I end up shoving things in haphazardly. A book I never got to reading, the iPod that was among my belongings, and then I realize I probably won't be able to charge it if I stay in the wilderness and put it back on the shelf. I find a lighter, a Swiss penknife that I kept among my treasured items from my father's possessions, some old camping matches, and his flint stick for making fires, should I run out of the others. I push through my stuff and come to Colton's gray t-shirt, pausing painfully, recognizing it as the one he gave me to wear when I shredded my clothes. I thought I'd given everything back to Meadow for him, but this still remains like a scar on my heart. His human smell still lingers in the fabric, despite it being washed, or maybe I'm just conjuring it up for myself. His scent so ingrained in my head that I will it to come back at me. I shouldn't take a part of him with me, for my own sanity. But I can't bear to take it back out. I keep checking my watch, even though I know I have another 3 hours before they assemble for dusk patrol. I have to kill time without going back downstairs and acting weird. I need to occupy myself up here until it's time to go, without obsessing and driving myself crazy. A shower. The thought hits me. That's an idea, and a nap if I can force it. Refresh myself, change into more suitable clothes than this sport pant and t-shirt duo I have sweated all over tasks. Will pass the time and keep my brain centered. I pull my clothes off without hesitation, throwing them in my wash basket, and head to the bathroom quickly. Yanking my hair down from my ponytail and turn on the shower, testing it before I go to step in. Lori? You there? Colton's voice hits me in the center of my forehead. The last thing I was expecting, and I almost slide with surprise as I lay my foot on the wet shower floor, grabbing onto the door to stop myself falling, like a newborn fawn on unsure legs, almost crashing into mayhem. For the love of all that is holy, why are the fates screwing with me today? Yes. What do you want? I snap, a little harshly, instantly remorseful at my knee-jerk reaction to him, then not, when anger kicks me in the butt and reminds me what an ignorant asshat he is, that he's all good to reach out now, after an unexpected brush with me downstairs, that clearly pushed his need to contact me button a lot harder. I rub my bruised shin, which bashed the shower screen, and jump in under the hot water instead of standing out here like an idiot. After seeing you downstairs, I wanted to make sure you're doing okay. I can pick up on the hesitation, the agony in his tone, and I end up sighing heavily, madness wavering. Because I'm a fool when it comes to him sounding like this boy, and against all my better judgments, I soften my tone when I should be cutting him off instead. Why are you reaching out? We both know what you're going to do. Can we just not do this? He's killing me, making all those emotions spiral up and mess with me all over again, and I need to be stronger than this. I need to bring back the bite to my voice, the steel to my resolve, and end this before I make myself even more confused. I can't seem to stop myself. I can only go so long, and the need to see you or hear you gets too much. I have no willpower when it comes to you. Back to his hot, cold bullshit, and I know if I let myself get drawn in again, it's only going to go like every other time. A couple days of pulling close, and then he backs off and leaves me feeling desolate again. I get it. I do, because the need for him is always stronger when we have some sort of contact. But I'm not playing anymore. It's not helping either of us. And as much as I love him, I have to do this. I have a solution. Every time you feel like you have to talk to me, go talk to Carmen. I'm sure she'll love that. I focus on something to be pissed about, and it does the trick. Moody, bitchy tone initiated. I can always count on my broken-hearted jealousy to find the fire in my soul. I sound as bitter as he makes me feel, and I'm glad the water is pouring over my face and camouflaging the tears that have started to fall of their own accord. I have zero control of that right now, and glad he can neither see nor hear them. I deserve that. I don't know what to say to you. I've been a coward for days because I can't face you. I guess we both know what's going to happen in a week's time. I don't know how to say the words to you, or how to say sorry for what I'm going to do. In that one little statement, he confirms my worst fears and solidifies my decision, ripping what's left of my shredded, mutilated heart out and stomping on it all over the floor until there's nothing left but mess. He's chosen to go through with marking her, and this is his goodbye, his confirmation. Then don't maybe just leave me alone until it's done, and then we'll see what happens from there. I need to go. I have to go do chores. I lie, trying to sound tough, mentally scathing in tone, even if my body is starting to shake with the buildup of sobbing coming my way. Trembling as I try to hold it in, breathing fast and shallow, throwing cold and snappy in there, while my limbs are quaking with the effort. But I can't let him know what it is I am planning on doing. He would stop me. Even with his mind made up, his need to protect me would overrule everything else, right? Chores, of course. I have to go assemble for patrol in a couple hours too. Enjoy your chores. I guess I'll see you around. He lingers, saying it slowly as though looking for a reason to not let this end. Yeah, you too. Now I gotta go. Bye. I don't give him a chance to linger more or to reply, sensing his hesitation so I take control. I'm the one to close the door on our connection and shut it down dead as I do, doing something I haven't ever done to him. It was always him that did it to me. Metaphorically shutting it, bolting it tight, and pushing the soundproofing button on our link so he can't come back anymore. I don't want him getting through. I mentally lock it and toss the key aside. I'm not going to lie. It feels like I just stabbed myself in the chest with a dull object, and I sob when the dead silent noise consumes that part of my mind. It's horrendous to know I'm the one to cut him off, but I have to do this for my own sanity. I can't have him popping into my brain anymore. Never again. I stop for a moment to process the conversation, and despite trying so hard to be strong, I end up sitting on the floor under the full force of my shower head and sobbing my heart out until I can't breathe with the effort. The doubts start to slide in, and I have to keep chastising myself for being so stupid. This is why he's stayed away. Because it makes both of us weak and clouds our judgment. I should have known seeing him would push him to contact me. It's harder when we do, especially touching, and we did when we collided. I probably played on his mind after I left because of that simple moment, and I'm just as pathetic sitting here crying over him. I shouldn't have responded to him at all. He shouldn't have reached out. It's just proof that our bond is powerful, no matter what we try to do, and neither can control the way it keeps bringing us back together. I hate the fates and this infernal bond. It's messing up everything, and I've no control over my feelings anymore. I thought I was strong, but when it comes to him, I'm an idiot. I'm a fool for him in every way, and I can't even stay mad or hateful, no matter what he does. Because the second I get a chance at connecting, I let him. I shouldn't have left the link open all week. I should not have let myself get taken in for even a second. It should have been done the second I decided I was leaving and not given him a window of opportunity. I won't make that mistake again. For sure. I yank myself up, pull my head out of my ass and aggressively wash down while refusing to break down anymore. It's the past. It's not where I need to be mentally. I wash my face until it feels raw, wiping away tears. I don't want to cry anymore, and shampoo my hair with vigor as though cleansing my head of thoughts and feelings. I finish up fast, tug a towel on when I step out, and focus all my efforts on drying quickly, rubbing my hair as dry as I can get it, before combining it into a sleek ponytail and pulling on fresh underwear and clothes. I slide on jeans, a tank and sweater, pull on some socks and sneakers, and take a last look around the room for anything I want to add to my backpack. I tidy my room, make the bed, and then lay down on top of it and try to force myself to take a nap to kill some time, staring blankly at the ceiling and refusing to let my mind wander back to him, us, or this crappy situation. There's a noise outside my door that makes me flinch, and I pause, stare at it, praying to God he hasn't decided to come here and start this shit all over again. It's what he does. And I hold my breath, listen intently, my own heart beating loudly in my own ears as panic sets in. I can't see him. I can't let him sway me, or touch me, or get close. My heart will betray me if I do. It's followed by the squeak of one of the cleaning carts, and I exhale in relief when it rolls right on by my room and fades into the distance. My body weak with relief, and I sprawl out star-shaped on my bed, exhaling so heavily I let out a whoosh noise, and then moan at my own stupid despair. Stop freaking out, Alora. You're going to get yourself in such a mess and not be able to follow through. Relax. Breathe. Count. I put everything into doing just that. Remember the techniques I used to use when I stayed in the home and couldn't relax or sleep on nights, when everything got to me too much. I picture a meadow, a sweet-scented field full of pretty flowers, and one by one as I walk through them, I count the heads, picking them out, touching them as I go. I visualize the colors, the feel of their softy, silky petals on my fingers, and the way the subtle scent blows around on the breeze, coming to me in mixed smells as they all dance and sway in ripples. It helps me drift into a calmer state of mind, the noise of nature drowning out everything else in my mind's eye. If I can just focus my energy for a little while longer, then I can get through this. Once I'm out of here and on my way, it'll be easier. It seems to work. I drift into a semi-hazy state of rest, and before I know it, an hour or more has passed, and it's getting dull outside. I come to aware I've lost time and must have slept, blinking at the sudden light change of the space around me and check the clock on my wall. I'm shocked that it's been more than a couple of hours since I came up here already. I guess I spent a long time in the shower to begin with, and I hop up woozily, pacing to bring the nerves back in line that are firing up and wakening my senses. It's early yet, but I don't think I have it in me to wait any longer, and I stalk to my window to look out over the back of the pack house. It's deserted back here. Still too light for the guards to take up position, and maybe it's a sign I shouldn't wait until the dusk hour. Maybe too many will be out there, and I might not be able to make up excuses if I get stopped trying to make my way out. Everyone should be running around, doing chores right now, so I might actually have a better chance if I do it now. A quick plan comes to mind, and I turn picking up my damp towels from the laundry and wrap them haphazardly around my backpack, adding my sweats so they look like a bundle of dirty clothes. I had intended scaling down my window later if I could, but this way I can walk through the house as though I'm late for laundry duty. If anyone sees me then, I'm just collecting clothes and I can use the exit in the hall before the laundry room to access the rear of the house. It's a solid plan, and I don't waste time in pulling myself together. I bundle my faux pile up in my arms, checking in the new mirror that was hung in here the other day, to see if my backpack is on show. Satisfied it isn't, I head to the door, take one last look around my room, and take a deep, steadying breath. It's time to do this. I use one hand to haul it open, slide out, and head left towards the back stair, down to the first floor, the one that's closest to my door, and brings me out in the same narrow corridor that leads to the back exit and the laundry door. It's perfect. I don't know why I didn't click on this before, and maybe this is the fates trying to make up for messing with me. I pass a few people who are lugging carts and hoovers from room to room and keep my head down, not really noticed by them, wishing I'd worn a hoodie so I could pull it up, but it's too late now. I stick on my route, turn into the stair, scale it in seconds in hyper speed, and then head along the final corridor to freedom. Soon as I get near the door I look around, see no one is out here despite the hustle and bustle and steam coming from the nearby closed door to laundry, and head out the back door instead. No one is back here either. Oddly, it's either good fortune, or someone up there is giving me a break. I'm aware a lot of windows look this way though, and I'm still not free and clear. I unwrap my bag, pull it onto my back and kick my dirty clothes and towels in a nearby bush. Look around before sticking up against the house. Back sliding along the harsh brickwork, eyes darting all around me to check no one is around. I almost crawl under the window to the room I'm meant to be in right now, holding my breath every inch of the way. Heartbeats crazy fast and racing, my breath shallow and hurried. My face damp with perspiration because I'm scared to hell of being caught and marched to Juan Santo. I stick in the flower beds, stepping over them so I don't trip. Up tight to the walls, and duck under every window I get to. Taking it slow, trying to remain silent as I do, and battling my own shaking limbs. I'm heading for the tree line which runs one side of the manor. And once I get in there, I can run as fast as my body allows me, relatively unseen in its dense close-knit woods. It extends for a couple of miles right out of the valley and into the farmlands beyond. I can't turn as I don't want to ruin my clothes now. I only have 2 full outfits, but I should be able to speed out without doing it. I hold my breath when a door swings open behind me. freezing in place, half crouched, and eyes widening in horror. I glance back, seeing it swing out into view, and my heart skips a beat, sweat rolling down my forehead from my hairline. No one comes out, though a voice waves my way closer than I expected. Yeah. Leave it open. It's like a goddamn sauna in here. It's inhumane making us work in this shit for hours on end. I don't recognize the female voice, and whoever opened the door mumbles in response, retreating inside and fading in volume level. I exhale, relaxing heavily. Thinking my legs might give out with that little moment of shock, move my ass back into gear and run crawl the rest of the way, feeling lightheaded. As soon as I hit the tree line, I pull myself behind the biggest trunk I can find and use it as a viewpoint to check if anyone saw me come over here. Taking a much-needed minute to pull myself together, breathe properly, and lean up against the rough bark until I regain my strength, and the wobbliness in my legs fade, I check my surroundings, surprised that there is literally no one at all out here. But as Juan has made it clear for days, the vampires can't be out in daylight. I guess that's why. Everyone is busy doing what they're meant to be doing, and I can hear voices on the wind from the front of the manor, hinting that a lot of those with no chore work are assembled in the front field. I won't get another chance like this. I put my head down, turn into the direction I want to go, and set my legs in motion with no intention of slowing down, stopping, or looking back until there is at least 5 miles between me and Radstone. I feel like I may have a heart attack as soon as I set in motion, but I keep one strong thought at the center of my mind. I'm finally free. Don't let up until I'm sure of it. It's been around 11 days since I left the valley, and I can honestly say, it's finally beginning to get easier in some ways, but not all. I was a fool to believe it wouldn't be hard, on so many levels, and I still can't get my head around my own naivety. Knowing then what I do now, I don't think I would have left at all. It's not just the survival factor that gets to you, it's the isolation, the loneliness, the living in constant high alert as you have to be aware of all that is around you, and the gnawing fear that sits in your gut hour after hour, unable to ever really stop watching my back, and surroundings always listening to make sure I'm safe, and afraid of even the tiniest of noises or movement near me. There are so many enemies in nature that I was oblivious to when living in the mountain bubble. I rarely sleep, so tuned into the noises of the forests and gullies and caverns I have walked through in recent days, always listening for something to come out of the shadows at me, and have endless dreams when I do, of vampires and monsters pulling me from my tiny crawl spaces before devouring my helpless body. Every time I'm paralyzed with the same useless inadequacy as that day in the orphanage, and completely unable to defend myself. I see Sierra often in my dreams too, my infrequent naps, and that repetitive sentence she utters on her breath, which always wakes me with a start. Always the same damn thing. Save us. I don't understand why she haunts me still, and can only imagine it has to do with my broken heart, and the dregs of Colton in my memory banks that get through the steel door I'm trying to force them behind. She was one of our last conversations, and maybe that's why she plays so heavily on my mind. The first few days were the worst, and thankfully behind me now, and I think it finally sunk in what I was actually doing. The first night, looking for shelter, eating Doritos I had hastily packed in my backpack for supper, and trying to find a comfy way to lie in a shallow hard-floored dugout on a hillside that barely concealed me. It was a shock to my system. Having come from a lifetime of shelter and home-cooked meals I took for granted, even being myself all those years, I was never alone or without food and a roof over my head, whereas now here I am, truly in solitude. I didn't sleep at all at first. Everything swirling in my head in the cravings for not just Colton, but Meadow, the sub-pack, my room in the pack house, and the safety of the valley. It was all crying out to me, reminding me that I was barely grown and only newly turned and still so vulnerable in so many ways. I sobbed so much in the first few days, I thought it would break me and send me running back with my tail between my legs. But it didn't. I weathered the storm, walking aimlessly south with no plan, and after getting the first few miles clear of the Santo lands, I didn't see a need to run anymore. With enough distance between us and no chance they picked up my scent to track me, because quite frankly they would have caught up with me already if anyone's been looking. I stuck to the rural areas, stayed away from roads, and moved through forests and woods, farmlands, and rougher areas to avoid humans too. I can still see the mountain in the far distance as it gets further away with every day I trek. But I'm probably not even as far as I think I am. It just seems so much further because I took so long to get here. I'm afraid to turn in daylight, in case I'm seen. Afraid to travel at night, in case I run across vampires. I have to use human legs and human speed. And without your heart and soul pushing you on, progress is slow. Day 4 was the worst day of my life, and it alone was almost what ended this adventure of mine. Just when I didn't think it could get any harder mentally, my heart already breaking with the need to see another person or hear another voice. I was sideswiped by a pain that came out of nowhere. I thought I was dying. It was like someone reached into my chest cavity and grabbed my heart in the middle of my soul, twisted it around sharply and yanked it out, breaking every bone in its way. I crumbled to the ground, gasping for breath, every part of my rib cage, lungs and core, slicing in agony, unable to catch air within me. Clawing at the ground as the pain shot through every limb and nerve ending, I ended up rolling around in the mud, clutching my chest and wailing like a wounded animal as tears flooded my vision and my brain near shattered. It was the single most terrifying moment I have experienced, beyond the night the vampires attacked, and I was once again completely helpless. It felt like ultimate betrayal, the severing of my soul, and the only thing I could connect it to was Colton. The only logical answer to something so all-consuming, and yet for no obvious reason to its sudden happening. He must have done something strong enough to our bond to inflict this kind of hell, as it sure as hell was not his death. As I'm still breathing, only 2 things could really hurt your imprinted like that, especially from so many miles apart. Severing the bond, which he couldn't have, because I would be dead, or betraying the bond with an act that cannot be forgiven, sleeping with Carmen, and marking her. It has to be that nothing else can compare to this agony. The thing they taught us about in school, about carrying that heartache when your fated mate destroys the bond. It all makes sense, and for days after, fighting the fatigue and desperation it makes me feel. Even still, I barely managed to cover more than a couple of miles in total, before breaking down into a crumbling mess and sobbing all over again. It felt like he had taken a knife himself, cut me open wide, and ripped everything out before setting it alight. The emotional devastation was as bad as finding out my entire family was gone when I was just 8 years old, and it still lingers like a shadow, weighing heavily, keeping me in the dark even now. It broke me, in so many ways, mentally. As I wore on over the next days, I became numb and my will to run far from the mountain died a death. The reason I was going was primarily to outrun him and what he had to do, to try and not let it get to me, to distance myself from the pain and leave him to walk his own path without me. And yet the fates they delivered a blow that almost stopped me in my tracks completely, killing my will to find my future at all. They left me with the heavy sadness that consumes everything and just won't lift. There's nothing to run from anymore. It's done. He did it. I'm just going through the motions now, without really engaging any kind of effort under this black cloud. My new constant companion. I walk. I find something to hunt and eat. I wash in rivers. I find shelter. And I sporadically sleep through the dark. The noises, the movement of nature, all should bring me peace as a natural wolf, but it just serves to remind me how very alone I am. And that a wolf is a pack animal. We don't thrive alone, and it's beginning to wear me down slowly. I can't seem to ever really get any clear indication in my life about where I belong, or what I'm meant to do. Just that discarded, worthless kid who wasn't good enough to be mated, when even the fates imprinted me on someone. What hope is there for me? I don't have a reason to go back anymore anyway. Not even for the sub-pack, who never really belonged to me. Colton made his choice, I can feel it, and we're done. I need to push on and find somewhere to settle, accept it, man up and stop crying like a stupid child, but nowhere ever feels right. On day 8, I stumbled into an unknown dense dark forest at the base of a smaller mountain that was relatively secluded. Finally finding somewhere that seemed easy to defend, was pretty, and had a good cave for a possible long-term dwelling. Nearby water source, dense enough to feel safe, sheltered, and a good supply of wildlife for the hunting. No humans around for miles, and no signs that any had been there in forever. It didn't take long to be chased out by feral wolves who caught my scent in their territory, though. Natural wolves, not my kind. No, because my kind would probably have strung me up and gutted me for straying there. Outside of Radstone, the packs still have deep-grained rivalry and feuds. They chased me all the way to a cliff edge before I had to jump in the river below to escape unscathed. I don't think I could have fought off more than a dozen rabid wolves on my own, and I don't have the energy to turn and heal myself right now. I'm spent. I guess I'm not eating enough, not resting enough, and all I do is travel from dawn to dusk half-heartedly and flop down again. Maybe it's not energy, but a lack of willpower. When I'm stuck in this mindset of hopelessness, I had to find a quick place to build a fire and dry everything I owned that day, and throw away the leftover snacks I opened as they were soggy and inedible. The money Meadow gave me had to be laid out in the sun, and her note was completely ruined, losing even her number on the back because the ink bled out and disappeared. Eating raw meat isn't sitting well with my human form either, which came as a shock, as I expected it to be a natural transition, but I don't feel great most of the time. It's like my wolf side really isn't all that in touch with my body, and maybe it will take time to adjust. Like building stamina and trying to develop my gift, just more failure, and I feel it's all getting to me. The dark, empty loneliness in my head, telling me I'm not good enough and never will be. I don't feel like being a wolf comes naturally, and somehow being in human form is easier, which is probably normal considering we spend the first part of our life that way. I just thought it would be a fluid transition, with few bumps. Like learning to float by jumping in the deep end. I sit staring at the little fire I pulled together in the basin of the clearing I managed to find. My ass on a fallen rotten tree, feet at either side of my rock-circled mini campfire, somewhere caught in the unremarkable depths of another dense dark wood. In the middle of nowhere, that is not as far from the mountain as I would like it to be. Sunny today, with no breeze, and the atmosphere has an almost serene calm to it. I'm far enough that fires no longer make me nervous, even when sat in an open clearing like this, as I doubt anyone would see the smoke now. No idea anymore on where I am. Only know how to go back to where I came from. That's the thing about us. We can always find our way back to places we've been or left. But without a map, I have no idea how far I am from where I started or where I am if someone asked me. It all started to look the same to me after only 2 days, and finding landmarks in almost identical forests is not that easy. I have to keep climbing trees to check where the mountain is on the horizon. So I stay heading south of it. Lord knows I would probably end up U-turning accidentally and heading back if I didn't. I don't seem to have a sense of direction that I'm sure most wolves should. I just have this constant pull to go home, and I'm not convinced it's fully because of homesickness. Sierra's dream keeps haunting me, even in daylight now too, and for some reason keeps replaying whenever I have to make a choice in direction. swaying in the canopy and gazing at the miles around me. More than once I've noticed that when I come to a crossroad in my path choosing, she becomes prominent in my mind and my gut tries to pull me east. Not even back to her son, but off to the left into the unknown. I'm not sure it's related or why my mind keeps wandering that way. I've wondered what would happen if I said screw it and just went that way. More than once. But I know it's probably nothing more than my being dumb and imagining it. I'm lost emotionally, physically, so it's no wonder my mind is trying to give me some sort of guidance or fake purpose to get me out of this funk. My plan was always south. My instincts keep on trying to sway me away from the south, and I shouldn't ignore my gut. But if my instincts are as faulty as the fates, I'm better off ignoring them completely. Look how wrong they were about Colton. He did it. Ignored them despite our bond. He marked a mate and forgot about me. In the end, I guess, it wasn't as hard as he thought it would be. He just needed me to get out of his way. South is where my mother said her family came from. Not that I know much about them, as she never really spoke of her roots, the way my father did. My mother was not a Radstone wolf, nor a white pack. She came from somewhere else, shrouded in mystery, and always said meeting my father was fated and magical, but never really told us the details or expanded on it. As a little child, I was not overly invested in love stories, so I never pushed. Father would shrug and tell us that their story was much like any other and brush it away. Evasive. But then he wasn't the gushy romantic type. I do know that she said she came from a place where the weather was warmer, land flatter, and her own pack never kept in touch or reached out in all of the years we lived on the mountain skirt. My grandparents were my father's family, and my mother, she just never brought hers up. We didn't really talk about it. My family was small, due to my father being an only child, born late in my grandparents' mating life, and older generations had passed away in my early life before I knew them. Wolves live longer than humans, but not for hundreds of years like the vampires are meant to. Chapter 67. Survival Part3. It never used to make me think or dwell. But now, knowing I have red eyes and a strangely rare gift, it makes me wonder what I actually knew about my mother. Memories are mostly her in human form, and the few occasions I glimpsed her as a wolf, I don't recall ever seeing her eyes. There isn't much need for a pup to see their parents in wolf form when you live on a peaceful, settled farm growing vegetables and raising cattle. Turning used to be a personal thing when there was no need. Like a recreational time-to-yourself activity among the peaceful dwellers who didn't have to fight, or defend, or lord over anyone. The white pack leader was equally stable and calm. And I never saw him turn at all in the time I knew him. My father never mentioned it. No one did, so I doubt they were red. I mean, she was a snow-white wolf, and that was mentioned enough over the years as though it was a bad thing. I knew it meant she was different. I'm sure her eyes would have been a talking point too if they had been like mine. They said her fur was white because she lacked a pigment, like a flaw in her genetic makeup, and I wonder if it's why my eyes are red. Like an albino. Although my wolf is half gray, and I'm sure albinos have pink eyes, not blood red. It's all so confusing. And I wish Meadow told me more about the legends, or that the shaman had taken time to talk to me. It just feels like they should have some relevance, or that my gift should. Maybe all it means is what Juan said is true. I'm a deluded impure bloodline, and completely flawed. It's afternoon, the sun's still high, but it's doing little to warm me through and lighten my dull mood. Not that I care. We have a gift in that. The cold doesn't really affect us the way humans are, and we don't need the same temperatures to survive. We can feel it. We can enjoy being warm and cozy, but we can sleep in freezing surroundings and not get sick. And if we do, we turn and voila, healed. I'm not worried about getting ill or injured out here as long as I can muster enough energy to turn for a few seconds. But it's my mental state that worries me. I keep thinking about Luna Sierra and her broken mind. And I would be lying if I didn't have a deep-rooted fear that I may not be strong enough to endure an oncoming war. I can hide and avoid it as much as I want. But one day, I'll find myself in the midst and I won't be able to escape it. It's always there in the background of my mind. There's a crack in the undergrowth behind me. And I spin around to focus my eyes on the dark shadowy depths of the trees in the direction it came impulsively, breath pausing. Heart rate increasing as my adrenaline insta-spikes and I train everything on that one spot, poised like I'm ready to bolt, and my butt hovers over the log I was previously perched on. I catch sight of a small deer running through, parallel to me as it makes a skipping path through, to find its little herd and relax again, exhaling heavily with relief and sitting back down. I don't think the jumpiness will ever subside, and I need to learn to calm down a little when it's bright daylight. The forest is never silent, and it's something I need to get used to. There's always some animal running around, some tree creaking, the babbling of water, or the rustling of the wind. It's noisy as hell, and when darkness moves in, it turns spooky and thick with atmosphere, and feels like a million eyes come alive. None of those are anything to really worry about, but try telling my hypersenses and scared, stupid, young girl mind. I should give myself a break though, and lighten up a little. I mean, it's been 18 years of being a shadow in a pack who maybe didn't want us. But they met our needs and kept us relatively safe. Well, minus that one night. Now I'm on my own, and responsible for my own safety. It's okay to be on edge. I guess it's a good thing to be aware. I found a cave here for tonight that seems secure enough, with no rear entry, and even though I should still be walking, something in me said it's time to stop for a while and just ponder stuff for a day or two. I feel like I earned it, and after patrolling this area earlier, I don't think I'm encroaching any pack territories. I'm shielded here, and there's a water source, literally a few feet away, in a little tumbling brook that heads out to a bigger river further on down the way. I chose a spot near my makeshift bedroom for the night, managed to haul out some of the rabbit I caught in my last turn, and didn't feel like eating. Out of my backpack, I started a fire in an attempt to make a real meal of sorts. Because I need something warm and decent to give me a sense of comfort, in that I'm winning this and not just scraping by. Cooking the meat I wrapped up in leaves to carry with me, instead of eating it raw, will trick my brain into a sense of achievement and less desperation. I foraged for some berries and mushrooms when I found this spot, and I have everything sitting on the flat stone I picked up nearby and stuck in the hottest part of the ash. If I can pretend I'm doing well, able to eat well, with some relaxing cookout time, then maybe I might sleep well later when the sun goes down, and maybe my dreams will give me just one night of respite. While I try not to ponder on this unearthly bellyache of longings, I miss real food. Cooked dinners, hot drinks, snacks. I miss milky cocoa, and walking around barefoot on carpet, and having a light switch to illuminate the shadowy corners. I miss having a soft bed and a safe room to close off at night and not worry about always having one eye open. I miss the noise of the others in other rooms. And down corridors, I miss Meadow and the sub-pack. And I dare say it, I miss him too. If I'm honest, I miss him more than everything else combined. And then some. Even if I hate him for all of this, and will never forgive him for marking Carmen, I can still admit my need hasn't wavered in any way. I can't even think about it without bringing back the agony which shadows my every move and push it back down in the depths to shut it off. I watch the fat begin to seep out of the meat as the stone heats up, and it begins to sizzle, giving off an aroma that reminds me of the mess hall. Not that rabbit was a regular smell. And I have to swallow back that instant choking regret I get often. I've identified it as homesickness, even if the pack house was never really that for me. I guess it's just a general longing for the mountain and the ties to my long-forgotten family. The farm which still sits empty, as I never had the courage to go out to and see, although I always knew it was there, waiting. I've never been good at facing my pain, walking away. Closing it off always served a better purpose. Jasper used to tell me as a kid that you had to face your problems head-on to be free of them. But then, he never lived to prove that was true. I miss my brother most of all. More than even my mom at times. Even if he did used to tease me and call me names and pull my braids. He was a few years older than me and never let me forget it. My first real male protector in life, and he never let me down until he left me. I wrap my arms around my legs and lean forward, self-comforting, trying to enjoy the heat of the flames warming my face in a bid to shut off my mind and its straying unwanted thoughts. But another loud crack in the shadows behind me has me bolt upright, and I spin around to see where it's coming from. I wonder if my dear passerby is coming back again, and peer into the depths hoping to see it jauntily trotting back out. My eyes narrowing, and wolf vision successfully flicking to adjust, and surprising me with the clarity of seeing in the dark. I gasp as a thundering, huge black bear comes crashing through the nearby tree line, suddenly, completely unexpectedly, downwind from me, so no scent warning almost soundlessly until that last moment. Shit! It must smell me, or what I'm cooking, and probably followed either sent out to investigate. It doesn't look inquisitive. It looks mad as hell, with raging eyes and bared teeth, and I can tell with the way it rears on its back legs and wails at me that it's probably my scent ticking it off and not here to say hello. Bears don't like my kind. It's a well-known and documented fact they deem us a threat, and we never wander into bear territory alone. Those monsters are strong, relentless, huge, and weirdly capable of taking one of us on as long as it's a smaller femme like me with little to no combat skills. I get up and start backing away fast, knowing that this is some bad shit to be in right now. Eyes darting around for a weapon or escape route as it wades towards me through underbrush, kicking rocks aside with its clumpy, massive paws. I swallow hard, pull my wits about me, and start pulling off my clothes slowly, keeping my eyes trained on it because I don't want to lose the very few items I have to wear. I only have 2 outfits, and they are already worn and scruffy from constant use, so I can't afford to lose a single item by shredding it to scraps by turning when dressed. I know I can outrun this demon with its head on killing, but I can't grab all my stuff and food and run if I do. I have no time, and it's nearer my possessions than me. I can't leave it all behind me as this asshole will chew it all to shit. It's mine, and I need what little belongings I have. It's literally all I have, and as it tramples over my backpack, a little gray of Colton's t-shirt peeking out. Something inside of me refuses to take this crap from some overgrown, mangy, flea-bitten teddy. It's all I have left of him, and I'll be damned if I'm leaving it behind. It comes crashing at me, pulling my full attention back to its enormous face, eyes raging, yellow teeth, bearing in all their massive, pointy, terrifying glory, and I know there's no way out of this. It's 4 times the size of me, easily. 3 times as wide, as black as the sky on a moonless night, and completely deranged. I yank the pant legs off, discarding them with my other offcasts, leaving me in my underwear as I run out of time. It lurches at me, and I instinctively turn to counteract the attack, shredding the only good lingerie I ever owned in my life. Black lace Meadow gave me, and it pisses me off on a whole other level. It happens so fast, like something inside of me snaps and takes over. And I move in a flash, somehow ending up wrapped around the upper front of that smelly, panting beast, rolling across the basin floor and crashing into fallen logs and rocks. Its claws and paws bashing down on me, except it doesn't feel of anything much because of my surge of adrenaline, and I latch onto its neck with my teeth, biting hard until I taste salty, metallic blood running into the back of my throat, digging my claws in where I can get them. My mind is on one thing only, and that's to maim and hold my own until I come out of the other side of this, no matter how long it takes. Strangely focused, completely in control, and yet fighting back with a fierce I never knew I had in me. It hollers, manages to dislodge me with a well-placed swipe across my head and side, with its massive paw, claws digging into my skin and ripping as blood sprays across the landscape, sending me rolling across the debris. The pain is like a distant dream and heals almost instantly, soothing into nothing, like a mild, faraway throbbing while blood rushes through my head and my own pulse bashes inside my thundering thoughts. Pushing me on, I'm quick to my feet, finding energy I've been lacking for 11 days, running straight back at it and flying hard into its midsection, with front paws and claws extended fully, ready to psychotically start ripping as I collide. Determined to leave my mark on it more permanently than the way it just did to me. There's an inner fire in me that knows no bounds as fear dries up and shrivels away. And this need to fight for my own things, my own safety, becomes all-consuming. Nothing else passes through my train of thought, and all I can smell and taste is this sudden need for blood. Like a hunger coming from deep within that tells me I won't relent until I take it down. It fills me with a complete disregard for anything else. I feel it surge through me like a force I can't explain. A shot from an energy drink or being zapped with a power outlet that springs you across a room. The bear counteracts my aggressive maneuver, and even though I gash its front ruthlessly with one paw, ripping flesh once more and almost blinding myself with a face full of splatter, it body slams me with the other, crunching my internal bones and sends my flying through the air like a limp rag. That wins me and renders me temporarily dazed. I'm still not anywhere near its size, which is its biggest advantage in this, but I won't let it beat me. I have speed, strength, and ability to heal, as long as it doesn't kill me with an instant puncture to my heart, or brain, or rip my goddamn head off. As long as I have a few seconds of not imminent death, then my body will bounce back quickly. Although each time is beginning to throb more than the last, and I guess my initial adrenaline surge is waning as bones readjust and crackle under my skin to be reformed. It hurts like a bitch, and this time I elicit a howl and yelp as it does so. My anger grows with this new pain, disabled only momentarily as I scramble to right myself, finding my balance and quick reflexes. An inner rage building up so intensely that I can taste it, becoming almost like a solid mass that I can feel and touch around me. The bear lunges at me again. And this time I'm swift, see it coming and sidestep, jump out of reach, and pounce from ground to an overhanging rock that levers me up enough to take a jump right onto the bear's head and side. I jump high and get it at an angle, right at the side of its face, clinging on devilishly by puncturing its shoulder and neck with gripping talons, and sink my teeth in the top of its skull in an attempt to crush it with sheer willpower. I realize too late, my jaw doesn't have the ability to stretch that far. And without a good amount in my teeth, I just rip off a clump of scalp and dirty foul-tasting fur which makes me gag. The bear is as furious as I am, yowling in agony at the removal of a sizable chunk of its own skin, reaches up, catching my hind leg with its claws, digging in brutally, and throws me clean across the forest floor so I body slap a fallen log side on with the force and velocity of a cannonball, ribs cracking under the assault of collision, spiking, and stabbing into my lung, crushing, crunching, and holy hellballs. I gasp out with a moment of agony that renders me unable to make an actual sound, air leaking out and failing me, because that time it hurt worse than turning for the first time, stunned with the brutality. And I'm going to rip that motherfucker's goddamn throat out. Somehow, I manage to inhale a breath so my lungs inflate, and push my shattered, fractured bones back together enough to heal again. But that internal energy I could feel building suddenly encases me fully with every step it takes towards me. My anger knows no bounds anymore, and I focus a rage comparable to the fiery depths of hell right at that monstrous Ashat. It's around me, shrouding me, like a veil I can almost see translucent. Yet it's tingling my skin, urging me to wrap it up and haul it in. Feed on it and use it. I can't explain it, but it's like the air becomes a thin fabric of real touchable something that I want to grab and take in my hands. The bear moves in at me, growling and wailing high into the sky with a blood-curdling anger that probably translates to "die bitch," and I struggle to get up, still recovering, still dazed, with this milky, not quite clear air invading my space, without understanding the why, not questioning where the idea comes from, but really having a second of panic action. As he makes a final death lunge at me, I grab it from midair, surprised to get a physical handful, like a hard-hot bowling ball in my palm, and throw it at the bear impulsively. I don't know what I thought I would achieve, and honestly, I didn't have time to ponder either the science or the stupidity, but I throw air at a bear in a bid to save my own hide. Then Grona's logic slaps me in the head for being an idiot, like something out of a Hollywood movie though. I watch in wide-eyed disbelief as the bear is hit with an almost invisible force that ripples the air around it, sending the milky veil into shimmering, flowing movement. Like mesmerizing water after a rock is thrown in. It makes its body indent crazily, like I just rammed it with a truck at crazy speed, and for a millisecond, time slows down as I take this all in. It's thrown back more than 3 times the distance it threw me, flying high in an arc through the clearing and lands with a shuddering thud on the floor below the tree line, spectacularly. I swear, the ground quakes with the force and reverberates through my healing body dully, bringing a calm to the forest that was not there before. Complete silence as everything stops, and all of nature pauses to say, "What in the hell was that?" The air pulsates around it silently, the veil moving over and away like I blew a candle, and the smoke disperses in the waves of breath into nothingness, disappearing like it never was, and I'm as shocked as the damn bear at what I just did, sitting stupefied, watching in complete disbelief, panting, with an erratic heartbeat, hunched up in my poised pose but dumbstruck and blinking at it. It seems stunned for a moment, rolls and crawls to its trembling legs, blinking my way, and then turns and takes off at a ridiculously slow speed. No longer willing to combat whatever I just did. It's not recovered though. It's clumsy and swaying. It doesn't get very far as I watch from my perched semi-kneeling position. It's staggering sideways, then slowing to a bumbling, uncoordinated mess of a stop, falls over its own feet and slumps face down on the ground. It's like it's drunk, and as it lets out a long, noisy, groaning exhale, I pull myself to my feet and watch as it falls completely silent. I can hear a heartbeat in the air around us, so suddenly it makes me jump, slow, labored. 1, 2 more, and stop. I'm shocked that it was so pitch clear while so far away. It couldn't have been its heartbeat, surely. It had to be mine, but I can't hear it anymore, and I check my pulse to be sure I'm not actually dead and already crossed over to the other side. Nope. Still beating as I press my clawed paw to my breast, and snort out a thankful half-growl. I blow out my lungful of air and give myself a few seconds to fully heal every single tiny injury it inflicted, stretching out my ribs to be sure. I stay in wolf form and slowly edge forward to see if it's still alive, trying to recover my wits and focus for a second attack. Surprised to see my fire and food was free from our thrashing around and still smoking away gently, untouched. It smells pretty good too, and my mouth waters with how hungry this has suddenly made me. Weird. My bag is kicked to one side, but nothing looks ripped, and I catch sight of the t-shirt still sticking out, bringing a sense of calm to my internal rage, which had still been simmering away all on its own. I pass it, and come up at the bear from the side, veering left cautiously, and keeping my distance in case this is a ploy to get me close. The bear has its eyes wide open, glassy, its tongue hanging from an open mouth, framed with teeth, eliciting no breath, and blood streams from both nostrils. It's vacant, staring at nothing. And I realize whatever I did, it messed the bear up inside, and it's dead. I can tell without touching it that its life force and aura is completely gone. My senses tuning in and finding nothing, I did that. With whatever I threw that I couldn't see, I killed the bear. I don't know whether to feel relieved, proud, or devastated by the fact I did that. Alone. That I managed to pull some weird power out of my gut and take down a bear with nothing more than air. My heart constricts, my gut twists, and I suddenly have the overwhelming urge to throw up as human emotion kicks in and slight shock takes over. I begin to tremble, heart bouncing against my chest wall. Mind racing over the fact I literally just had my second ever real full-on battle with something capable of killing me, and this time I didn't almost die at his hands. Pause. I didn't need Colton to save me either. He'd be proud, not that it matters, or that I care of what he thinks anyway. I push my paws out in front of me, moving to stand on my hind legs and stare at them. Unsure how to feel about it. Really just gawping at these strange clawed fur-covered, rather blood-soaked weapons of destruction I never knew I possessed. I mean, of course, I knew I had paws, but these ones, they did something weirdly special that I can't explain. They also look whiter, under the mess and grime and red stains, but maybe I never really paid attention to how pale they were before. I was sure they were grier when I first turned. I try to muster that sensation again. That physical veil thing that I could touch and hold and see. But nothing happens. No matter how many weird grunts and noises and odd faces I pull, and I shake my hands away, feeling stupid for not knowing how to control something I can clearly do. My legs begin to shake, and I can already feel my energy waning and signaling. I'll return to human form soon if I don't hurry up. I don't know if I would be able to do this as a person, and I'm not ready to forget it already. I forget the bear, forget the battle, the shock, the pride, and walk back to the clearing, extending my hands and try to grasp at air again, with no avail. So focused on this now, that nothing else registers in my brain about what just went down. Whatever that was, I have to figure out how to do it at will. I have to understand how to conjure it and make it appear like that so I know how to use it again, or hone it. Like the day I shattered everything in the house. It just happened when I got mad, and I got mad. The thought hits me like a slap in the face, as my brain clicks into place, and I recall just how crazy angry with Colton I was right before I managed to do that. Just like I was a mass of seething fire, sweat, and despise, with this idiot Grizzly. That has to be the key between what I did at the house, and now this. I don't think it was the same as this though. And he proved it was some sort of absorption gift, especially when he tested himself against it. I definitely did not have Colton's strength, speed, and power this time, or else the bear would have been toast in seconds. I saw what he did to the vampire that night, so I did absorb and deflect his own gifts. This isn't that, this is something else. Unless that bear had weird powers, and was some sort of shapeshifter, and not a regular black bear at all. I glance back at its lifeless form, a hint of apprehension and circling questions, and shake my head, removing that doubt completely. Shifters would revert to person after death, and it's still a pretty sizable black fur rug over there, creating a dark mass against the trees. I felt anger and rage, and instead of fear, I wanted to exert my dominance. I instinctively protected myself with something I conjured up, and I haven't come in contact with anything like this that I can ever recall. Not recent enough to absorb anyway, and I know it wouldn't have stayed with me. Absorption doesn't last, like it hasn't with Colton's gifts. I look down at my hands once more, weighing it up in my mind, and realize that it's exactly how I did it. Raging with Colton, like I was with the bear, so it must be the source to harnessing it. Not that it will be hard to find a reason to be mad. I just need to remember the pain of 4 days after leaving. And bingo, I could fuel rage for an eternity while cursing his puta-skanky ass's name. If I leave the self-pity aside and remind myself that on the full moon a few days after that, I felt no new agony, so no new betrayal, then I know the answer. He must have marked her before the turning ceremony, once he was sure I was long gone, out of sight, out of mind. He didn't even wait. I sat up that whole night waiting and watching the moon and felt nothing. Slimy dog. It ignites rage all right, but I don't know what to do with it. I stare at my limp hands, slowly turning back to human, failing to conjure the milky mist and give up. I guess without something to direct the rage, or have something threatening me in some way. Then I have no idea how to conjure it up properly. Maybe if Colton was standing in front of me, my head falls back as I sigh up at the sky and exhale heavily. Nakedly standing in the wood, and brain jumps back to reality. I have an opportunity presenting itself if I put gifts and rage aside. I just killed a bear, a big one, and his fur shouldn't be wasted when I'm trying to make rural survival more bearable. I was aching for some home comforts and a soft bed. That fat chunky ass has a perfectly thick piece of warmth going to waste now. I need to remember what my father told me about off-grid survival, that it's essential to utilize everything you can at any given opportunity. I turn my attention back to the beast. A sliver of guilt finally cutting into my heart, a tad painfully, reminding me I am in fact human, as I watch its now still, pathetic pose, and try not to fall back into weak girl with too much empathy. I've had to do this a lot these past days when hunting my own food, and I need to accept that life can be cruel, and in nature it's eat or be eaten. I ignore the growing knot in my heart and chest, push away the thoughts, and find that inner grit. I pull out my pocket knife from my backpack and flip out the knife section, gleaming in the sun hitting the clearing and shining back at me. I've been using this to skin rabbits and such for days, but it's small and not the sharpest, even though I have tried to use flint rocks to keep it so. It will take a month to skin that damn bear. I extend my hand, stretch it out, and turn it alone to my wolf paw. Lycanthrope can use their paws like hands or feet, and I extend my claws fully, measuring up mentally the size and sharpness. Knowing really, I have the only tools I need right here. I don't bother dressing, as I'm filthy after that little battle and about to be more so. Dried blood from my own now healed body, and the bear's wounds covers my skin in disgusting patterns and smear marks. I probably look as feral as this makes me feel. I'll need to bathe before dressing, and this is going to get messy. I cover the ground between us and close the gap with the bear. Extending my claws fully, with my mind set on a stomach-churning task, leaning in to salvage what fur I can, and maybe a trophy claw. As a reminder that I just earned my first warrior stripe, I push down the urge to vomit, suck up the sudden surge of emotion that makes me feel slightly vulnerable, as I stand over my kill and survey what I'm about to do. I don't even know if bear meat tastes good. It might when cooked, and I guess I'm about to find out. It's the first day in the last 11 that the sadness and hopelessness abates, and I feel like I might just learn how to get through this in one piece with a little more resolve than the last 2 weeks. I might learn how to grow, how to be strong if I give myself more time and some faith. If I can take on a bear, maybe I can take on something paler faster. Deadlier, with a bloodlust should I happen upon one. I need to figure out how to unleash my potential. And for the first time, I wonder if Colton saw it before I did. That he could see through what everyone else did and caught a hint of a spark when he got closer to me. Maybe I am special. Wolves can't throw air.